ChatGPT. Yes, but the possibility is if I can send, I don't know, 500,000 tokens in the context window, and then within 40 seconds get a response, which is equivalent to what I get from GPT-4, then I think that a bunch of the conversation about RAG being better just from a speed of inference perspective are slowing down. An additional thing I want to say before I get to you, Yam, just a second. The immediate response in my head was, okay, RAG is done for, or at least not done for, but definitely the kind of the crown on RAG's head. Everybody's talking about RAG. There's vector databases everywhere. We just had folks talk about Colbert and different things. RAG is okay. RAG is now shaky. But the other thing I started to think is fine tuning also under risk. And Swix, I think this goes back to what you just said about like the general models versus maybe the fine tune or very specific models. Because if a general model can take a whole book, and they had an example about this where there was a very low research language, Kalabati sound like this, and there's only one book that's a dictionary for this language. They literally threw the book in the context window, and the model was able to, from context learning, to generalize and understand this and perform better than fine-tune models. And I'm thinking here, like, okay, RAG is the first thing to go. Is fine-tune second? Are we gonna stop fine-tuning and sending context? So, Swix, want to hear your reaction about the language thing, and then we're gonna get to Yam, and then we're gonna ask some more folks.
Yeah, I think there's generalizable insights about learning about language. And it's not surprising that throwing that into the context window works, especially if it's a cognate language or something that it already knows. So then you're just learning substitutions. And don't forget that transformers were initially trained to do language translation. Like this is like bread and butter stuff for transformers. The second thing I would respond to is I have to keep saying and banging this drum. Long context does not kill RAG because of cost. Imagine if every time you throw 10 million tokens of context in there, you have to pay like $1,000, right? Because unless something fundamentally is very, very different about this paradigm, you still pay to ingest those tokens of cost.
Yeah.
So ultimately, people want to still RAG for cost and then for attribution reasons, like debuggability attribution, which is something that's still valuable.
Yeah.
So I think long context is something that I have historically quite underweighted for these reasons. I'm looking to change those assumptions, of course, because obviously, like this is magical capabilities if you can use it.
10 million, especially, it's kind of crazy. Yam, I want to get to you. You had your hand up a little bit, and then we're gonna ask some more folks about opinions about this, and then move on.
Yeah, I just want to say on the topic of latency and ingesting a lot of context, I think that there is a solution that we didn't talk about here and will be something that is going to be incorporated in all the flagship models, which is embedding knowledge into the KV cache, which is something that many of the inference engines today can do. You simply just prefix the context beforehand, and then you don't need to process it through your model. So you're not sending the whole database each time you are calling your model. It's just saved. Imagine that OpenAI have some sort of an API that you embed the KV cache beforehand, and it's reduced price, of course, and then it use that as your context. So it basically is somewhere in the middle between the two. And the reason that it's not supported now in flagship models because the first flagship model that support million tokens came out today. But I think that if we see this, if we go there, this is something that we're going to see in all of the APIs. Moreover, I also don't think that RAG is done for it because RAG is explaining to you very, very clearly and very simply where the information is coming from, what the model is basing itself on. You can claim that the model with the attention, you can do it as well, but it's not like RAG. RAG, you're just showing the clients, the people, exactly where it comes from, and there are use cases where this is absolutely a must. So I think that there'll always be room for RAG for these specific use cases, and long context with KV caching is going to be, I think, the method for embedding, for example, a full database or a book or something big and using it multiple times with many different methods.
or also multimodality, right? So like, thank you for
Yep.
this. Definitely makes sense. And I think somebody in the comment also left a similar comment as well. So we want to dive into the KV cache stuff maybe in the next one. But I want to talk about the multimodality part of this because um, we've multiple times mentioned. I think we did this every Thursday since GPT-4 launched because we were waiting for the vision part of GPT-4, and we talked about 2024 being the year of multimodal, and we're gonna have to talk about a bunch of multimodal stuff today, specifically with the Reka folks and the Reka Flash, which understands videos. They basically, I'm gonna have to see whether Reka understands videos better than Gemini, but the Gemini folks talked about there's a specifically a bunch of multimodal effect on the context window where if you send videos, you at least the way they did this was just frames. They broke down this movie to like a bunch of 500,000 frames or so and just sent it in the context window. And they basically said, like, we have all this video in the context window and then we have a little bit of text. And I think context window expansions like this will just allow for incredibly multimodal use cases, not only video, audio. We've talked about previously with the folks from prophetic about different fMRI and EEG signals that they're getting like multimodal like applications as well. And the context window enlargement for these things, Google specifically highlighted. And I want to highlight this as well because it's definitely coming. Like I'm kind of waiting for being able to live stream video, for example. And I know some folks from like 12 Labs are talking about almost uh, live stream embedding. Um, so definitely multimodal from Google. I think, folks, we've been at this for 30 minutes. Let's move on to different other big companies because we have a bunch of other stuff to cover. And unless we have some more comments on this
I
from
do
folks on
actually.
stage.
Unfortunately, I can't raise my hand because I'm on desktop. But I shared a link to the space actually with regard to Magic, not so much about their new release, but how they got there. Um, which is this is one of the few companies that I've seen doing this, and I'm kind of surprised that more AI labs don't do this, where they offered a bounty for data sets that they didn't already have, um, and that weren't synthesized. Since you can, like, yes, you can scrape and filter the pile, but if you can get like, a the data set of all the code that a particular COBOL developer has written over the years while they were, programming at AT&T, and they need a little bit of extra cash, they're happy to hand it over to you. And then if you get enough of those, it turns out that they at least might help you along the way towards making a 10 million context coding model. So food for thought for the developers listening, I suppose.
I see. All right. Go ahead, Nissan.
I'll just quickly add that the 100,000 frames part makes sense.
Also, food for thought for the developers listening, I suppose.
I see. All right. Go ahead, Nissan.
I'll just quickly add that the 100,000 frames part makes sense because we know now from VLMs, visual language models. I guess you could count video language models now too. That each image takes up to 578 tokens for a small resolution like 334 by 334, and the bigger ones that pair all of them together. The bigger ones use up to 2,888 per frame. So 100,000 frames, that would be 500,000 to 3 million tokens or so. So that fits right within that, and that's a very interesting observation. Just some quick mental math on that, and yeah, that's it.
All right, so folks, I think we're gonna move on and talk about the
I
next.
don't know if I
kinda
got
couple
booted or
stuff that we've
dropped or what.
already covered to an extent, but there's some news from OpenAI, specifically around Andrei Karpathy leaving, and this was announced. I think broke in the information. And Karpathy, some folks here call them senpai. Karpathy is a very legit. I don't know, top 10, top 5, whatever researchers, and could potentially have been listening to the space that we had with LDJ after he left. Or, yeah, I think it says it was clear that he left. It was the information kind of announcement didn't have a bunch of stuff, but then Andre just like as a transparent dude himself, he came and said, "Hey, this wasn't a reaction to anything specific that happened because speculations were flying, and I think at least at least to some extent we were in charge of some of these speculations because we did like a whole space about this that he could have just listened to. But speculation was flying. Maybe this was Ilya related. Maybe this was open source related. Like all of these things. Andre basically." Helped start OpenAI, then left and helped kickstart the Tesla autopilot program, scaled that to 1500, then left. On the chat with Lex Friedman, Andre said that basically he wanted to go back to hands-on coding. And in OpenAI, his bio at least said that he's working on a kind of Jarvis within OpenAI. And definitely, Andre has been also talking about the AI as an OS. Swix, you wanna cover like his OS approach? I think you talked about this. He had like a whole outline. I think you also talked about this.
LMOS.
Yeah,
He wasn't working on it so much as thinking about it.
thinking about it. Yeah.
And maybe now that he's independent, he might think about it. The main thing I will offer as actual alpha rather than speculation
Ooh.
is I did speak to friends at OpenAI who reassured us that it really was nothing negative at OpenAI when he left.
Yep.
Apparently, because they spoke to him before he left. So yeah, he's the way I describe it is he's following his own internal North Star, and every time he does that, the rest of us win.
And definitely the rest of us win. The open source community is like hoping, I guess, or like I've seen many multiple takes that say, "Hey, Andre will unite like the bands of open source, the different bands of open source." Andre posted this thing on his X where like his calendar was just free, which shows maybe part of the rationale why he left, because meetings and everything, and now he can actually work. So shout out to Andre Karpathy for all he did in OpenAI and for all he's going to continue to do. We're going to definitely keep up to date with the stuff that he releases. Andre, if you're listening to this, you're more than welcome to join. We're here on every Thursday. You don't have to have a calendar meeting for this. You can hop on the space and just join. Also on the topic of OpenAI, they've added memory to ChatGPT, which is super cool. They released a teaser. This I didn't get into the beta, so they released it to a limited amount of people. They added memory to ChatGPT, and memory is like very cool the way they added this as well. So I've said for a long time that 2024 is not only about multimodality, that's obviously going to come, but also it's about time we have personalization. I'm getting tired of opening a ChatGPT chat and have to remember to say the same things on it doesn't remember the stuff that it previously said. So the folks in OpenAI are working on the differentiator, the moat, and different other things, especially now where Google is coming after them with the 10 million context window tokens. And they're now adding memory where ChatGPT itself, like the model, will manage memory for you and will try to figure out, oh, OpenAI, oh my God, breaking news. OpenAI just shared something. As I'm talking about
Oh
them,
God,
you
what
guys
is?
wanna see this?
What's happening?
Literally, I got a notification from OpenAI as I'm talking about this.
Oh, I guess I should put the screen back up, huh?
Dude, I needed my breaking news button today. OpenAI said, introducing Sora, our text-to-video model. Sora
Are
can
you
create
fucking kidding me?
videos for up to 60 seconds.
What the hell?
Holy shit, this looks incredible.
Okay.
Somebody please pin this to this. Nistan, you have to see. There's a video, 60-second video, folks.
Wow.
All of the.
Crazy.
Oh.
Oh
my
fuck.
God, I have
Okay.
to put the breaking news button. Holy shit. So folks, just to describe what I'm seeing, because
Wow.
please pin this to the top of space. Every video model we had so far, every video model that we had so far does like 3 to 4 seconds. Pika, the other labs, I forgot their name now. Runway. All of these models, they do
Oh
a
my
stable
God,
video
Runway.
diffusion.
Holy
They do
shit.
like 3 to 5 seconds, and it looks like wonky. This thing, just that they show, generates a 60-second featuring highly detailed scenes. And the video that they've shared, I'm gonna repost, and somebody already put it up on space. Has folks walking hand in hand throughout there's a zoomed in kind of like
Wait, did
behind the
they
scenes
included
camera
the
zooming in.
hands?
There's a couple consistent. I cannot believe this is generated. Holy shit! The consistency is crazy. Nothing changes. You know how like previously video would like jump frames and faces and things would shift.
Holy shit.
Wow. Okay. So I guess we should probably talk about this. Reactions from folks. I saw LDJ. You wanted to come up to see the reaction. I'm still kind of a little bit blown.
I'm
Like,
just.
honestly, it looks crazy. It looks really good quality. Better than most text-to-video models that I've seen.
Holy shit. So okay, so I'm scrolling through the page, folks. Yeah, for those who are listening, OpenAI.com/Sora. Sora is their like text to video. I'm seeing a video of a model walking through like a Japan street, whatever. The prompt is: a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket, long red dress, and black boots. And the consistency here is insane. I do
Bro,
not
check
use this
out the
word lightly.
methods, or like actually go on their website, on the Sora, on OpenAI's website. They've got a few examples. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Holy shit.
Okay, let's play with it, dude.
I've
I
never
can't
seen
play
a
video games. I have to make
Look, if you
movies.
showed me
high
this
fidelity.
yesterday, Pharrell, if you showed me this yesterday and said this is generated, I would not believe you. So what happens is now the same video of this woman walking, they have a video camera zooming in into her eyeglasses.
Okay,
Her
hold
face
on.
stays the same
Yeah.
consistency, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see reflection in the sunglasses. Shit.
Alex, you have to go on their website. There's like this video of like literally the prompt is reflections in the window of a train traveling through the Tokyo suburbs.
Oh
And
wow.
honestly, it looks like someone captured this. Like no way this is AI generated. It's crazy.
Wow, folks. What's the availability of this? Let's see. What do we know? So we know safety. We'll be taking several important safety steps ahead of making Sora available on OpenAI's products, so it's not an open
Okay.
beta. Working with red teamers, they don't want this to be used in deepfakes for porn. Obviously, that's like the first thing that
Yeah.
devices are going to use it for.
Yep.
The C2PA metadata that, if you guys remember, we've talked about that they started including in DALI. They're going to probably include this as well.
Breaking news from Stability too. What
And
the
new
fuck?
techniques prepare for deployment, leveraging the existing safety methods. Okay, so research techniques.
This is crazy.
Consistency is crazy, right, folks?
Yeah, it's not available. It looks like,
Not available yet.
to answer your question. They released some details about it being a diffusion model. They also talked about it having links to DALI 3 in the sense that, honestly, I don't know if people know that there was a DALI 3 paper, which is very, very rare
Really?
in this age of not open AI.
Yeah, not very
And,
open AI.
So they were
Open
doing this
AI.
like sort of synthetic data recaptioning thing for the DALI 3 model, and they're referencing the same method for Sora. So I would just go read the DALI 3 paper.
Wow. The consistency has been the biggest kind of problem with these. LDJ, go ahead, please. As I'm reading this and reacting, and my mind is like literally blown. The demo of
I'm
the doggy.
upset that
Hold
I
on,
didn't
LDJ,
get
one
to
second. There's a
get on
demo,
the red
there's a
team.
video of the dog like walking from one window and jumping to
Oh,
another
please,
window.
God.
And the paws, they look like it's a video. Like, folks, like literally does not look like generated, like anything
Yeah,
we've seen before.
Okay.
This is gonna disrupt like Hollywood like immediately. Like we're talking about text to video disrupting like media content creation
Okay, I
and so
got
on.
that.
Like,
Okay,
this
I
is
won't
like
request
this is like
again.
the mid-journey
Fucking A,
moment
man.
of text to video. Like that same feeling that we had when we were able to prompt mid-journey and get like some really high quality images. Like this is the same but for video essentially.
This breaks reality for me right now. Like literally, I'm watching this video multiple times. I cannot believe that the dog's paws are not like shaping in different shapes. The spots on this Dalmatian dog stay in the same place throughout the video. Like it don't make sense. All right, LDJ, go. I think show some
Yeah,
sign.
Oh shit.
So Sam,
shit.
here I'll post it on the ding board. Sam said
I just
that
did.
that certain select creators have access now, and oh, I just lost the tweet.
Okay, does anybody fucking have it?
But yeah,
Who's got it?
says that some creators already have access, and I guess they're gonna slowly expand it out to like beta users or whatever. Yeah.
No shot.
Wow. So Sam asked for some. We can show you what Sora can do. Please reply with captions for videos we'd like to see, and we'll start making some. So I'm gonna apply.
So yeah, basically give him some really complicated prompt and that's
Oh shit, yeah. Can we? Okay.
A raccoon hacker on thursdai, just opening a portal through Twitter, through OpenAI to the moon, and then stringing code along. I don't know.
Oh, there's also. Yeah, I don't want to spend the rest of Thursday because we still have a bunch to talk about, folks. But is anybody not scrolling through examples right now? And you definitely should. There's an example of a
there's
chameleon.
only 9 examples.
What do you mean?
They-
Insane.
The whole. No, website has a bunch. Scroll down. There's like every kind of example has more
okay.
scrollies. So I'm looking at an example of a chameleon, which
More
has a bunch of
scrollies.
spots and has like, guys, the spots are in the same place. What the fuck? It doesn't move.
Yeah.
It does not look like.
Yeah.
Like honestly, let's do this. Like everybody send
what's
this
the
to your
most-
mom and say, "Hey mom, is this AI generated or not?" Like older folks will not believe this shit. Like they would
I
think
would
it's
say
real.
Of course. What's the most impressive
compare this to
is
Google Lumiere.
humans, right? Like
I don't know.
humans
I think you guys
Wait,
covered
hold on,
that.
Pharrell. I
Chatting.
think we're talking over each other. Give us a 1 sec, Swix, and then Pharrell.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's a bit of a lag.
Oh, I
Oh
thought I
no,
was speaking
nothing.
first.
Just compare this to Google Lumiere, where they release a bunch of sample videos as well.
Yeah.
But you could, I was impressed by the consistency of the Lumiere demo videos. Like they demoed sort of pouring syrup onto a pancake, and then infilling the syrup and showing that it would be pretty realistic in pouring all that syrup stuff.
Okay.
So didn't really see that kind of very technical test here, but the resolution of these videos and the consistency of like some of these movements between frames and the ability to cut from scene to scene is way better, like instantly way better. I was thinking that Lumiere was like state of the art, a few weeks ago, and now it is completely replaced by Sora. Like this is a way better demo.
Holy
I think
shit.
OpenAI is showing Google how to ship.
OpenAI decided to say, you know what, Google, you think you can one-up us with the context window? We got another thing coming because I've
Just pull up the Lumiere page and then pull up the Sora page and just look at them side by side, and you can see how much.
and
better
Lumiere,
they
like
are.
Lumiere was mind blowing as well. Go ahead, Pharrell. Go ahead, because we're still like reacting in real time to this whole like ridiculously impressive.
Damn.
Yeah, I was just saying that the most impressive thing is like how alive these video shots feel, right? Like humans talking, like action scenes, like all the text to video models that I've seen so far and I've used were very like very simplistic, right? It felt like more like you're animating an image to like do like very minor movements. It wasn't actually alive in any way, but Sora's text to videos is nuts. Like the quality, the
Damn.
consistency, the action, like the actual
Just make
action
sure,
of
okay.
the characters. I wonder how much like granular control do you have on a scene to scene basis. I know like Google released like a paper I think a few months back where they had like basically like a script that allowed the like for much more long form video content, but I'm not sure if that's the case here. It's just really impressive. It's really impressive.
I want to say one of our friends, LaShawn, just sent at the bottom of the page. It says Sora serves as a foundation model that can understand and simulate the real world.
Jesus
I
fucking
can
Christ.
like
Oh
even
no.
like internalize what I'm reading right now because
Oh
it's
no.
a simulation of the real world. It kind of like triggers something in me, tingles the simulation hypothesis type of thing, and this can like regenerate a map of the world and then zoom in and then generate all the videos. And I'm wearing this like mixed slash augmented slash spatial reality headset that just generates. And this happens on the fly. And like, what am I actually watching here? So this says Sora serves as a foundation for models that can understand and simulate the real world, a capability we believe will be an important milestone for achieving AGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. So I will say let's do like 2 more minutes because this is. I can't believe we got both of them the same day today. Holy shit! We got 10 million context window from Google announcement, which is incredible. Multimodal as well. I like my whole thing itches right now to take the videos that OpenAI generated and shove them into like a Gemini to understand what it sees and see if like if it understands. It probably will. Wow. Yeah,
The
folks.
only thing that would make this Thursday a tiny bit even more awesome is if Meta comes out with the Llama 3.
Right. Fucking A,
Too
man.
much, too much,
True.
too much.
No, that's next.
It's
week.
gonna be too much. We need a second to like breathe. Yeah, definitely, folks. This is a literal like singular day again. We've had a few of those. We had one on March 14th when Thursday started. OpenAI released GPT-4. Anthropic released Claude, I think, on the same day. We had another one when OpenAI Dev Day came about, and I think there's a bunch of other stuff. I consider this to be another monumental day. We got Gemini 1.5 with a potential 10 million context window, including incredible results in understanding multimodality in video, up to an hour of video, they say, then up to 10 hours of audio. And then we also have some folks from Reka that's gonna come up soon and talk about their stuff, which is they just like, with all due respect with Reka folks, like this news seems bigger, but they still launched something super super cool we're gonna chat about. And now we're getting it just the distance. We're used to jumps, we're used to state of the art every week, we're used to this, we're used to like this model beats this model by fine tuning
Yeah,
whatever.
fucking A, man. Okay.
OpenAI leaderboard.
Well, I need to go die to some rogues for this.
Such a big jump on top of everything.
Very important.
From stable visual diffusion.
I'll leave chat up though. Oh wait, no, I can't. Let's see, how are we gonna do this?
What are they called again? I just said their name. Runway. I forgot the like.
Runway,
always forget
yeah.
their name. Like
Poor guys.
Yes, poor Runway. From Pika Labs. From folks who are generating like videos.
Okay.
This is just such a huge jump in capability. They're talking about 60 seconds. Oh, Meta just announced JEPA. Yeah, I don't know if JEPA is enough. Like people are commenting about.
I don't know if
JEPA
JEPA is enough. JEPA is insane, dude. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
You spiked my heart rate when you said Meta just announced. I was like, what the fuck?
Meta literally just came out with an announcement of VJEPA, supervised learning for videos.
Bro.
Unless they come out with Llama 3 and it's multimodal and it's available right now, not like Meta is not participating
bro.
in the singular day of February 15th.
Cool. So this is something
Yeah,
actually
tell
a
us.
paper they came out with like about a month ago, but this is for video understanding. So this is pretty much like for input of video, while OpenAI's model is for output of video.
It just, I will say, like, it's a research thing, right? So they're not showing anything there, unless I'm mistaken. I still have a bunch of stuff to give you updates for, and we still have a bunch of interviews as well. There's a new stability model, but I'm still like blown away, and I just want to like sit here and watch the videos. I wish, you know what? I wish that X finally had video spaces, because I would be able to like we'd all be able to see this together. But we don't yet. So
There's a Periscope, right? Or is
yeah, there
I
is,
see
but
people streaming video on Twitter.
you could stream video. Spaces are gonna come out with video soon. I wish you guys see my reaction, but you can hear it in my voice. All right, so folks, I think we're moving forward, even though this is probably like the two biggest pieces of news. Anything else from folks in the on stage that just read about something and some reaction? Like how do they do this? Like what the fuck? Is this what Ilya saw? Yeah, somebody reacted like, what did Ilya see? Did Ilya see a generated video and the model understanding this, and then that's why?
No, I think AGI has been achieved internally at this rate.
Wow, I'm still blown away. Like if a model can generate this level of detail in like very soon, I just want to play with this. I wish we had some time to I wish I was one of the artists, and I hope that somebody in the audience here is, and that they will come to talk about this on thursdai. And because I'm still mind blown. So I see quite a few folks that I invited that I wanna welcome to the stage. Let me just invite some folks. VJEP understands the world while Sora generates one. That's the comment that some folks led. And okay.
Hello, Mr. Yikes. Having fun dying to rogue.
VJEP is going to be something.
Hello, let's see. Who am I? Oh, it's a Promi. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, no, Meta is definitely
How
good.
do you not
I'm
know
just a
my
little
voice
bit,
by now? It's been like 9
lost for
months.
words right now. Let's see if we can
I
get
have
friends.
a lot of voices
ahead.
in my ear at
Go
all
online and check
times.
it out.
I guess I should
Yeah,
stream
but-
because I also
Yeah,
have
so
a
you can watch the lot of
How many
speakers.
podcast in my
Jordan
ear.
Peterson-
Is,
How many Jordan Peterson clone
the
voices
main
do you
idea
have?
is
Like, come on,
that,
I'm the only other
these
person with
AI
his
models
accent.
Many. You'd be surprised. Okay, let's see. If I do this.
In 3D.
What-
That's not
Oh
even like
shit!
some ways
actually-
I got
you could
chat
imagine
too.
that,
What's up, lols?
A cat
I
is
chatted
a lot
you on
more
Discord
intelligent.
or on
You
Twitter.
Even if
You
it was
chatted me
wild
on
and
Twitter.
it's
I
magic,
see.
you
My-
gotta figure out where to
Because
go
you were
on
up on the
Starbucks.
sidebar and it's
Stuff like
Thursday.
that. So,
I hate trying to
this is
say
one
this.
part that's
Third
kind of
AI
missing
from Alex
from
Volkov
the
right now.
world model
So
that
it's
they
like,
get
oh yeah, he's
purely
definitely
just
not
from,
going to get viewers. Because
word
there's like,
relation.
Well, no.
I
Did you see the title of my stream?
And, so this is a step in that
you are
direction,
doing the
it
Sam
seems.
Bankman
We can
free.
have a
I
red
am
paper,
streaming
so
video
I'm kind
games
of,
because I'm gaming. If
No,
you wanna
I'm-
Come pitch to me. Come pitch to me.
No, I'm
It-
streaming
it really
Thursday
is
while I
a
play
step
video games.
in that direction
Because
towards,
they
models
can't
understand
they can't stream
what's
video,
going
and
on.
the big news is
kind of
OpenAI just released a text to video model, so I am scrolling through the video while that happens. But let me see if I can start virtual camera here and
What a
then go.
Thursday! What a Thursday! I gotta wonder how I'm gonna like
Let's
summarize
do.
this. And I
How
just
about
want to
that?
invite to have Yitay here
Yeah,
in the
I liked
audience.
Thursday. I like Thursday as a group. I just, unfortunately, I really don't like Alex's voice. I find him very annoying
And
to
then
listen
we
to.
should have Max as well at some point.
Which, like, some people are great
because we have
presenters,
guest
but
speakers here
unfortunately, you
from
just don't
Reka
like
that
their
we want
voice
to chat
for
with.
whatever reason.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna
They'll have like
continue
an
and
annoying
kind
little
of
clip
move
or a
forward in
drop,
some
or
of
they
the
have some
conversations.
tiny
Let's
like breath
roll
thing.
back to
It's rare, but it
okay.
happens.
While we're still super excited, and I can't wait for this to come out. This is an announcement
Dude's
that
a
they
great
did. It's
presenter,
very
though. No
polished.
shit on him
We
for
haven't seen
me not liking his voice.
didn't see any access or anything about when it's
Yeah,
gonna come out.
no, I can.
I do feel that this is
Have you
a
found
breakthrough moment
Mika Berkeley's account
from
yet?
Google and from OpenAI.
I don't think
and
so,
it does
no.
look like it's reactionary to an
Genius
extent.
black dude,
The
all
folks
up
in
on
OpenAI were
AI
sitting on this and
influencers and
saying,
stuff. To
"Hey,
the point
what's a
where he's
good
like,
time to release this?"
bros,
And
why are
actually
you
now,
white
like,
tech boys
let's
trying to
steal
build
some
AI
thunder from
waifus
Google and,
and then
like
run
10
them
million
yourself?
thing
He's like,
that
literally,
also not many
go
people
find
can
some
use, and let's show
23-year-old influencer
whatever
who's
we
not
have
making
that
it
not many
and
people
combo
can
your
use.
skills and let her pilot the
Which is
goddamn
an
AI
interesting
waifu and be
thing
even
to
hotter
think
than she
about, because
originally was
again, the
and
pressure
share the
is on
fucking
a
money.
bunch of other labs on Meta to release something. We know Llama 3 is coming at some point. Will it be multimodal? Will
Let's
it be
see.
able to generate some stuff?
Yeah, sorry, it's hard for me to
because
concentrate.
we-
I'm also listening to the podcast at the moment.
Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
dude, trust me. This is my biggest
Go ahead,
question about
Nissan.
how
The
people
thing
are
about
using Apple
VJava
Vision,
seems to be good at
the
is
Apple
understanding
Pro with all the
video
fucking windows, how they're
instructions.
dealing
So,
with volume leveling.
I
Yeah.
guess you could point the camera to something you're doing with your hands and arts and crafts things, or repairing something, and it understands what you're doing. So that's
I'll
actually
DM you a
very
link to Mika because you should
powerful
probably be
for
following this.
what
Probably.
data sets of skills that will come, because then you can generate actions. So I think that
I
will
think,
apply a lot to
you know,
robotics, what they're doing.
because you're the crypto bro guy in the space,
Oh,
you should
all
almost
right,
be the
yeah.
one who
And they also
organizes
have the
big
Ego
EX
4D data sets
get-together
of
somewhere on a
robotics as
cruise
well.
ship like crypto
And
bros used to do.
they've talked about this. LDJ, you
I do be the crypto
join us
guy,
back.
whether I want to be or not.
Oh, dude, you are totally the crypto.
Oh, I'm
bro.
already
I like
following
it.
him. There we go. We're good.
You're
Yeah,
like one of the
sorry,
smartest
it's,
people
yeah,
I
go
know
ahead.
who
Just
uses the
connecting
most
or
like
something,
loose
yeah.
fucking language. Like honestly, if
You
I
wanna
wanted to
you wanna
understand your
leave like last comment
announcements,
here
I'd have to
before we
like
move on and talk
run them
about
through
the
Chat
less,
GPT to
honestly, a little
decrypto,
bit less
bro.
interesting stuff. We
Well,
can talk about Chat with
fucking.
RTX for 2 minutes,
That's
but honestly, I
unfortunate
would
because
like
I,
you to, like, keep watching
what I
this
try to
tutorial
do is
video,
use language that's
and just keep
interpretable
us
rather
on this.
than
But,
using like big boy
right,
smart
so
people where
let's
it's
actually go towards
in
open
order
source
to
stuff
help
and
people
cover
understand.
them, and then
What
we'll
I
have
find
it,
it
and then we're
is
gonna
there's
move
two
on.
types
Hopefully,
of
we'll have
speaking
our
primarily in
friends be
AI,
able to
and
join.
it's either
Actually,
hype
Dom
or
as well.
extreme
Invite Dom
info
as well.
type, like
Max,
you were
let
defining
me
at
invite
the end
Max.
about the
I'm
academics.
inviting a few
But I
folks here on
find I
stage,
have a harder
and then
time with
we're gonna
hype
cover
talk
some
because
more
I'm
stuff in
probably
depth.
autistic.
So let's
Mm.
go
Part
to
of
open
it.
source like super quick. NVIDIA released Chat with RTX
It's
for
kind of
local
like
models,
tribal
and
language,
it's
right? There's like
actually
people
kind
that
of
would come in here,
like
read your
very
shit, and be
very
like,
cool.
"Oh
So a
fuck,
few things
this
about the
homeboy
Chat
all
with
up on
RTX. First of
AI
all,
after he was
NVIDIA
super
packed
crypto bro.
a
So dude,
few
this is the guy I want to
models
work with. So you
for
know
you. It's like
blockchains
38
and
gigabyte or
Python.
something download, and uh, they have quite a few. I think they have 2 models packed in there.
Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't sure
Thursday.
which
Well,
ones.
regardless of
This
whether you
this
like
is
the voice or not.
basically
So,
a package you
2
download.
minutes
I don't know
ago,
if Docker or not. That runs on any desktop PC
Meta
with RTX
released
30 or 40
VJEPA.
series with at least 8 gigabytes
15
of
minutes
RAM.
ago,
And this is a
Sam
chatbot
released
that's fully
Sora,
open.
which
And
is
we
their
love talking about
text to
open source
video
and some local
model,
stuff as
which
well.
generates
And
60
I
seconds
got
of
the
it.
not only
announcement.
that, they
Yeah.
give you a rack built in. So
And
you
now
can
there's
actually
a
run this
third
on top of
announcement
stuff
happening
you
that I'm
have.
trying to figure out
They
what it
also
is.
have something that runs through a YouTube. You can give it like a YouTube playlist or a video link, and it will have you talk to a YouTube video. So it has built-in RAG, built-in Tensor RT LLM, which runs on their stuff, RTX acceleration, and I think it's pretty cool. Like it works only on very specific types of devices, only for like gamers or folks who run these things. But I think it's pretty cool
most of this
that
actually comes out of DeepMind,
that folks
'cause
are
Google's pretty much just a
NVIDIA is
memory
releasing this.
distribution.
They also have
Google's
something
been
for
getting
developers as
fucking
well,
destroyed, honestly.
to be
Like
able to
Gemini
build
is
something.
shit,
I think the
Lumiere
last
is
thing I'll say
shit.
about this is that it's a
Like,
graduate
I mean, to sum
interface,
up the
which is really
collapse of
funny to
Google
me
in a
that
couple
people
of
are
words,
shipping
they're
graduate
basically
interfaces
pulling a
on
Sears.
production. It's really cool.
Right, where they become too incumbent.
And it looks like, just give me folks 1 second. I'm inviting Max, Bain, and
successful.
Yitay to
Like
the
the fact
stage,
that
and
when
doesn't look like you guys are getting the
what's his face a couple years ago said that Lambda was sentient,
And
and
if
the
you
reason it
are,
couldn't be sentient from his
are you on
supervisor
desktop maybe?
was simply her pointing at a sheet that said,
Let's try to
"We
join
don't
from your
build
mobile devices.
sentient AI."
And
Based.
this could work. We also have Dom from Stability, and also inviting Dom as well. And does not look like.
Oh shit, we got some people from Stability coming up on stage in theory. I don't know.
LDJ, you wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, DJ, go ahead. I'm chatting with the folks. Oh, hey Max. Yes,
Hey, Alex.
desktop working. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. And I think we need to also invite Yi to accept as well. And after that, we're gonna have a nice conversation about Reka. Meanwhile, I'm gonna continue to chat about the kind of the updates until we get Yi, and then we're gonna chat. And also see folks on stability. I see also Dome from the stability cascading. Would like to invite you guys also to come up. If you see the invite, please join the stage as well. As we said, Twitter Spaces are not Twitter Spaces without technical issues. But Max, please stick around.
Yeah,
While
what's
we
from
try to get
stability?
you
You're
on
gonna
there.
figure this
And
out
listen, if you
here.
see those requests come through while I'm talking, you notice them. Please put Yi, Tay, Max, and Dome to the stage. Um, Cohere releases an open source called Aya 101, a model that's like 12 billion point 8 parameters model with understanding of multilingual 101 languages from Cohere. It's honestly pretty cool because Cohere has been
Oh yeah, I should go
doing a
back to
bunch of stuff.
chat.
Aya outperforms
Oh, yeah, that's one of
the
the reasons I
Glooms
jumped in.
model
I
and
had an idea
MT0 on wide
popping
a
around in my
variety
head.
of automatic
The
Yeah,
very
then
start the
implementations,
podcast, probably end
despite
of
covering
April
double
or
the number
something,
of
and start
languages.
doing spaces.
And
You
what's
know what I was
interesting as well,
thinking
they
is
released a
we
data
should
set
steal
together
the
with
Cog
Aya,
AI
and then
Lab name because that server's pretty much defunct,
what is interesting
and rebrand the
here.
public-facing portion of what we
Yeah,
tried to
just
do with
Apache 2
Yano
license,
as
which is super
Cog
cool as
AI
well.
Lab,
Apache
and
2
just
license
go
for
full
this
fucking
model.
ACL on
Invite Yi as a
fucking
co-host.
being
Maybe
the dudes who are
this
building
is where you
cognitive
can
AI.
join. Farrell,
Even
go
if it's
ahead.
like
You
somebody
see,
like me that
you want to talk about
doesn't have
Yi,
code.
Aya?
Like we're the kind of people you want to get in there, getting your theoretical matrices spinning in
First
your
off,
own brain.
I
So you're
appreciate and
actually trying to
commend
build shit
Cohere's
because maybe you're good
like
at code, but maybe
building
you're
a
not good at
multilingual open
extrapolating what
source
it means
data
into your
set
mind,
and so on. Like
right? So we
that's
have a
awesome. We
lot of
need more
high-level
of
thought
that.
and services
But
to offer, and I
unfortunately,
think we need to get that
with the first
podcast going
few
weekly
questions
again,
that I
so
asked,
people can get in there on the philosophy.
Honestly,
in
IMO
Arabic
like high-level thought
specifically,
services are worthless. Like,
most of
but
the
maybe
answers
that's just
were
me being cynical.
nonsense on
I
their
don't know.
Oh,
training
People
really?
pay a
model.
lot of money
Yeah,
to
and
architects and
like
design
to
people,
the
right?
point that
So,
it's like it's laughable,
like, I
right?
gotta wonder how much
For
code
instance,
Jan LeCun
in
himself
Arabic,
even writes,
I
or
asked
whether or not the dude's just constantly
who was the first
supervising his
nation that
staff and pumping out high-level
had
thoughts for them to
astronauts on the moon.
actually.
Well, yeah, but you know, like dude has probably written a shitload of code, right? So
Yeah.
he can
Are you still with us?
I think you cut out.
Yeah, but
for a
it's like
second.
when you have
understand the
people like
executions.
me and Seth,
I
you
think
know
it
what I
dropped.
mean,
I
who
don't
are
see him anymore.
neuroscience based, who
He might
spent
have.
Well,
20
His
years
phone
yeah,
might
we're
have
gonna
on
have to.
just their
Yeah,
fucking
I can
obsession.
briefly
might
That's
have.
kind of the high level you
comment on
want.
it.
You don't just
So
want
Yes,
yeah,
please.
armchair
we're
philosophers.
pretty
You want
happy
people
now
that
that
have a
also
dedicated
Cohere
obsession with
has
the
started
goal, that are
contributing
trying to spread
Mhm.
information for a
to open
reason.
source because
One of the advantages
data
to
sets are
philosophy is
very
improving
important.
the
And yeah, I
lexicon by
think the
which we're all
reason
talking
it
about
wasn't
these things
performing so
and
well
actually pinning down and
in other
defining
languages
words and
is just
creating
because
meanings.
some languages did not have
Hmm.
there wasn't enough data in that for it to
I get
be
what you mean, though. There's
to be
definitely
trained.
a
But the
dance on
beautiful
being
thing is that
careful
it
about
is
just
Apache
essentially
2.0.
getting
You
lost
can
in
just add
high-level
your own languages
conversations that are
data set
pointless
and
fucking
it'll
analysis that go
make the
nowhere.
whole thing better.
Kind of like
Yeah,
Those
the
are
most of
FYI,
them,
man.
most conversations
Awesome. All right,
like
folks. So now we're
end up
moving
that way.
into
I
the
know
interview stage, and we have
in
quite a
the
class.
in the
And
like quote
one of
unquote
the
high level
most
space.
favorite things that I want to do
That's why
in
I banned
thursdai,
essentially
and it's been an
high-level,
hour since we've
high-energy
been here,
physics
is
talks
to
until
actually
the
talk
last
with the
like
folks who
hour
released
of
the
the
stuff that we're
podcast,
talking
because
about.
that
So
stuff
the
just
next
like
thing I'm
already
gonna like
derails
announce,
it.
and
I
then
see
we're
you
gonna
have
have Yi, Tay,
adopted
Max,
our
and then after that we're
if
gonna talk with
anyone
Dom
brings up the third
as
law
well.
of
So
thermodynamics, we have to leave rule.
earlier this week,
Well,
a
apparently we have to
company
edit that
named
rule because
Reka AI
if
released
Base Beth
two
Jezos
models, or at
joins
least
our room and
released a
starts
demo of two
talking about
models, right?
thermodynamics,
I
it
still
I
leave.
actually
think
goes somewhere.
API is
Fuck
still
that
available.
shit.
We're going to talk about this as well. Called
Nope,
Reka
not
Flash
dealing
and
with it.
Reka Edge. Reka
I heard
Flash
the
are
term
the edge-able
thermomimetics
multimodal
the other
models
night,
that
and I
understand
fucking
text,
dipped immediately.
understand
Fuck
video,
that.
understand audio as well, which is
I'm
very,
not
very
doing it.
surprising to me as well. And I had a
Well, it's like
thread
I
where
found
I
one
just
dude from
geeked out
Germany.
and
He's
my
got
head
like
was blown with the level of
synesthesia
understanding
and
of
like some
multimodality.
kind of
And I think some
epilepsy.
of the folks
Dude's
here
fucking brilliant. Within like 10
had
minutes of talking to me, he's like, "You use a
had
visual
talked about kind of
information system to sort all your internal
sorry, let me
memories,
reset.
don't you?" I'm like,
Some of the folks here on
"Yeah."
stage
So
have
like,
worked on
dude's
these
fucking
multimodals
brilliant. He
models, and
posted a
so
thing up
with
in
this,
like
I
my
want to
room this
introduce
morning. He's like,
Yite and
"Here, I
Max
found this
Dane.
thing the U.S. military is
Please
building a
feel free to
self-learning
unmute and
gel
introduce yourself
computer."
briefly,
I'm like,
and then we're gonna
it's
talk
like,
about
dude, I
some
fucking
Reka
built
stuff.
nuts and
Go
bolts
Yi
hardware, but
first,
it's
maybe,
fucking
and then
amazing
Max.
that you found that.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, for inviting me here. Can people hear me actually?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Yeah.
Please
Okay,
go ahead.
great. Because this is the first. Hey, this is the first time using Spaces, so yeah, try to figure out how to use it. But thanks for the invite, Alex. And so I just introduced myself. I'm Ide, and I'm one of the co-founders of Reka AI. We are kind of like a new startup in the LLM space. We train multimodal models. Previously, I worked at Google Brain, working on Flan and L2 and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a short introduction about myself. And maybe Max, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Max, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, thanks for Alex for having me. So yeah, as you said, yeah, I'm part of Reka. So I joined more recently, like 6 months ago. I just finished my PhD, and that was on like video, audio, speech understanding. I've done a bit of work in open source. So if you use WhisperX, like that was like something I worked on, and kind of now working more in part of Reka and really enjoying it. So yeah, that's pretty much.
So first of all, let me just say thank you for WhisperX. I did use this, and it was awesome. And I think this is how we connected before, or at least to some extent. I think this is the reason maybe I followed you. I was really surprised that you were Reka. So let's talk about the models that you guys just released, and because very impressive on the multimodality part, but also very impressive on just the regular comparative benchmark. And I think you guys released the comparisons to just regular MMLU scores. So Reka Flash gets 73.5 on MMLU and 65 on human eval, and GPT-4 is at 67 at least, and Gemini Ultra they claim is 74. But your guys' model is like significantly smaller. What can you tell us about kind of? And I know you said before there's like a bunch of stuff that you won't be able to talk about. What can you tell us about the performance just on the textual kind of comparison, even though this is a multimodal model and there's a bunch more that we'll talk about?
Yeah, thanks. So I'll just, I can't really say that much, but I can say that there's quite a lot of headroom in pre-training just for language alone. And I think that we're still not near the headroom yet for pre-training. And I think even for us, actually, we have a better version of Reka Flash internally right now, but we've not even published metrics for that because while we were preparing for the launch, we actually have even a better model now. So I think actually there's still quite a lot of headroom for pushing that, and there's quite a lot of things to do in pre-training. But I can't really wouldn't be able to say much about more details. Yeah.
About specifics, I did see the comments that you left in your thread that you talked about the folks who do foundational models from scratch. There's a lot of banging and a lot of creation they have to do in the process as well. And it looks like at least some of this amount of hard work you guys had to go through in order to train these foundational models. So let's talk about the multimodality, I guess. What can this model do? And I think I have a good idea, but can you talk to us on the multimodal part? What can those models do in terms of multimodality?
Max, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, Max, can you go?
Yeah, so in terms of multimodal,
OSS competitive with Gemini Pro and 3.5 multimodal.
I would say the image understanding is pretty good, so people have noticed, it can recognize text pretty well.
Oh wait, is it open source?
Nuanced details, which tended to be a big issue with VLMs, they used to be quite biased or hallucinate a lot. I think in Reka Flash we noticed that drops a lot, so I think
to open source how many params your model is. Okay.
Yeah, pretty on par with Gemini Pro or a bit better. But yeah, that's kind of up to the jury. The video understanding is also pretty good. I mean, we limit it to a 1 minute input. We do have internally better things, and partly we're bounded by how much we can run for free. So yeah, kind of I say overall pretty good video understanding and image. We haven't focused too much on audio right now, but that's definitely on the roadmap. Yeah.
So I did run into the audio stuff, and I ran a few videos through the demo, and folks definitely should check out the demo. I'll add this in the show notes, and hopefully some folks will add this to the space as well. I just started uploading short clips, and it's great to hear that you're saying you guys are limited. You're limiting on the demo, but you can, if I'm hearing correctly, the model can understand longer videos as well. So I uploaded a video of a trip that I took to Hawaii, and there's a submarine there, and somebody was narrating the submarine, and he yelled something like, there the submarine goes, dive, 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 something like this, very excitedly. And the model really understood this, and actually, it said, the commenter said, dive, 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 like this, with a bunch of eyes in it. And to me, this was the holy shit moment. Oh, looks like Max is requesting again. So Max, you may have been dropped off. Let me just remove some folks. Excuse me. I'll have to remove some folks as well, folks. Max, are you back with us? Let's give Max a second to connect here.
Let me ping him.
Yeah. So I'll just continue while we try to get Max back in. Lovely Twitter Spaces as a platform. So I uploaded this video. The narrator for this video was very excited. I did not expect the model to actually pick up on the excitement, and it was very surprising to me because if you use something like Whisper and you just extract the audio from the video, you would not get this result. You would not get like the excitement in this person's voice. And while we try to get Max back in, could you mention stuff about audio? Do you train it specifically for audio as much as you can share, obviously, or is it like a byproduct of just this model being multimodal and understanding and can listen as well?
Wait, so like let me take a step back. Actually, thanks for sharing that example because I actually had to watch your example to find that dive. Like I actually watched the entire video to find that clip. So I think it was a pretty good clip. To be honest, it also surprised me that you found this example. I think I was not also expecting this. But I mean we co-train this with many modalities. We are not sure like why this specific case is like this. So I think that's all I can say. But probably
I can definitely add one thing, that this video was for sure not in your training dataset because it was a private video of mine that like didn't exist on the internet before. So it wasn't like a result of this video being in a training set. Max, you rejoined. I hope you heard some of this question as well, like attributed to you. Did you see this example? Did it cut you off guard as well? Do you see other examples like this that were like very, very surprising in how this model performs?
Yeah, I saw that. I was surprised. I mean, to be honest, one thing I've noticed is that video benchmarks are quite poor. So we, in like the question answering data sets, we don't really get a chance to see this, especially ones that use like the speech information and things like that. So like it's really like I'm glad you like tested it a lot because yeah, like internally we maybe haven't had a chance to. So I think like but it's the benefit of kind of training everything from scratch and like adding all the modalities in.
That's awesome. So I also want to talk about the fact that you guys released two models and you talked about there's a bigger one. Let's talk about the Edge model. Can you talk about kind of are we going to be able to use this on device? I assume like what's the play here? At least from what you can say, what's the play in terms of like using the smaller models? Obviously, smaller models, the benefit of them is using them closer on the edge and device, and that's how you named it. What's the thinking about releasing kind of these two models in different sizes, and what's your plans for those?
Oh yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that's a great question. So, so for the H model, 7B model is like I think it's kind of it's at the size that it's possible to run it locally, but we are thinking also along the lines of like okay, it's actually faster. Like it's just for latency sensitive applications. Sometimes you just need certain things like this slightly faster than the 21B model, and it's also cheaper to host for lots of applications. So I think that's mainly like just one of the reasons why. I mean, we also ran lots of applications at smaller scale. So this turns out to be just the size that we have, and I think it's just mainly for latency sensitive stuff. And then like for people who are like for businesses and stuff, like they might just choose to deploy the smaller model if they don't like need our larger models like the Flash or the core model. So I think that's really like the idea behind it. And then from the research point of view, or like at least from the playground point of view, right? Like the demo point of view is that like people get to get a sense of the feel of the model at the 7B scale and the 21B scale, right? So there's some kind of like you might be able to get a sense of like how this setup works at the different scales. So I think that's mainly like why we deployed two models in the playground, just so that people can play with two variants and stuff. That's not much thought. I mean, it's not like super complicated. It's just like just happened this way. But yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah.
Awesome. And so folks can go check out the demo. It looks like you guys are set up for API keys, as far as I understood. So will developers be able to build with this? Like what stage are you in? I think you invited to a Discord or something. Could you talk about how we can play with these models, what we can do, and if there's any expected open source, because we love open source here on thursdai. If there's anything to talk about there as well, please feel free to tell us how to actually try these models beyond the demo and build with them.
Yeah, sounds good. So for API, actually we we have our API as a system already like working, like and then some people are already using it. We are like rolling out access, coupling with our like the billing and everything. Like we're just making sure everything is like running very well, and then we will roll it out soon. So I think that's really like the idea behind the slightly staged API release. Yeah, so that's for APIs, and then for open source, I'll just be candid here. We are kind of like considering it. We're not like sure yet about like whether we want to do it or we don't want to do it. It's always a question we have, but we're not.
They don't want to.
But we're also like not saying.
Everybody's so worried about open sourcing their shit. Stupid.
About this kind of thing. So
you can still charge for it, guys.
So yeah, that's currently the stance we have right now. But we're writing a tech report. It's not like a paper, but it's also not like going to be so.
Alex sounds a little better.
There'll be some details in the tech report, but like not complete details, but some details. But yeah, so I think that's really like the extent of like how we're thinking about things right now. Yeah.
Awesome. So first of all, I want to consider you guys friends of thursdai. Thanks for coming on the pod. And here we definitely love open source. We talk about it all the time, and we just like champions of open source. So if you do release anything open source, you're welcome to come back as well. E and Max, we have Swix here. I'm actually in Swix's audience, so you can.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of people in that thread that posted like some conceptual stuff that could be kind of fun. We'll see if he runs any of them.
I actually tried to set up the chat with you when I was in Singapore, but it didn't happen. So sorry about that. But I actually want to just chat.
You're getting pretty fucking close to the holodeck. I would say.
Something that you hinted on your announcement post. You talked about how much of the infra you had to rebuild after leaving Google and joining Reka. You said everything from robust training infra, proper human evaluation pipelines, and proper RLHF setups. I was wondering if you can just give us like a preview of like what did you miss, what does Google have, and then what do you think like the industry could do?
Well, okay, that's a very interesting question. I need to think about what I can say and what I cannot say. But so I mean definitely I miss CPUs.
Like there's people already using this stuff for being like drops already. There's also a guy dancing below like 30-foot alien centaur with like 6 pentabar morning. It was like his backdrop is a DJ while thousands of people just record it like they're seeing a god for the first time.
Hell yeah, sounds based.
A lot of us I feel the same way. And then
man.
I think in terms of infra,
I don't know about you, but my joke this morning is apparently
not
like autism is basically one.
At least what I
is basically what now?
Basically one. Like everybody else is consuming content, watching Gurji's store and educating themselves. And like all of us autists have just been like hyper-educating ourselves since Gurji over the singularity. So it's kind of like now we have the power.
Even things like file I/O is
just
something
ignored
that
us and
people
mistreated us,
like
so we're
take
just
for
going to convert
granted.
the whole world into autism because it's actually more effective than non-autism.
Glorious. I wish you great fortune on your quest to annihilate the non-autists.
I'm not trying to annihilate them, I'm trying to replace them.
Perfect.
There's a fundamental ethical difference between every person who's wanted to change the world. They wanted to annihilate the thing before. I just want to be like, okay, all of you, here's a free ticket to Australia.
Go live there.
And we'll actually make Australia really nice. We're not going to do this like the British. But if you leave your Luddite island, we will fucking vaporize you.
Perfect.
Like literally, like disintegration beam from fucking D&D. Like, we will decouple your atoms and just make you turn into atomic ash or something.
I love it.
Things that need to be taken care of. But
to me, it's the only ethical path. We just let them have a little portion to do what they want, and if people want to leave, we let them join us.
There you go.
And does Google have the equivalent of weights and biases?
TensorBoard, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why my philosophy podcast is good, because I'm like the sad.
So we don't work with Google yet, but hopefully if folks at Google listening to us,
I think I see somebody over there.
But at least you guys, now that you're out of Google, you definitely can. You want to follow up with Swix, or are we?
Oh, I don't know. Did you guys talk about Reka Core already?
Yeah, so I think there's not a lot of stuff that you can say about the bigger model that you guys have, but give us a little teaser, like for a few folks here on stage. Like, what can we expect from the bigger model, and maybe when? What can you tell us?
so the video model, okay, so I can just say that we ourselves are impressed by the results, and if you try to extrapolate from our 721 based on of the scale, you can try to imagine what the type of metrics look like, right? But like,
oh, this is a good point.
I think we ourselves.
Oh my god, I forgot to drink my luck potion. I'm so dumb.
By the metrics, so like we are. I think that's all we can say. I think in the post we say that coming out in coming weeks is around that ballpark. It's not like next week, kind of thing. It's also not like 1-2 weeks. It's probably like a couple of weeks. But we still, we also like kind of like a bit tired after the release. We will take a take a few days like break, and then start working again, kind of thing. So like I think that's basically what I can say. But I mean, we are very happy in the model, and we are excited about it as well. Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so
okay,
we're
that's
excited to
somewhere.
see this. I want to flip back to Max just for a second. Max, as we just talked like a cover, there's some stuff that I use that you guys watch and like, oh, finally somebody like tested this out. When folks interact with your demo, first of all, I'll just say definitely folks should do the thumbs up, thumbs down, and reply, so you guys will get some nice RLHF. What other venues is like giving you guys feedback which folks can go? So this what you want to put out, or anything else you want to add to this as we kind of move on?
Yeah, thanks, guys. We actually have a Discord channel, and if people post, use cases where maybe our model is doing well or could do better, you can post that, or maybe there's something you're not happy with the current models, like Control V or Auto, and like I guess because we're such a small team and in an early stage, like we're taking a lot of that on board, and so yeah, like we can take all of that stuff. If you have stuff in more detail, you can put that in the Discord, and we're like, really happy for any feedback. So.
Awesome. Are you guys distributed, by the way? Or are you working co-located? Like, where's Reka located?
Man, I
like
forgot
all
my
over
coin
the globe,
pouch.
yeah.
Rip.
So Yee's in like Singapore, I'm like London, sometimes the West Coast, but yeah, it's like a remote first company. Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
And also, yeah, sorry. Another thing is if we do have job postings, so if you guys would, like.
Ooh, Reka's got job openings. Might toss some applications their way. TBH.
So definitely, folks, should give E and Max a follow. E and Max, thanks for coming. I consider you friends of the pod from now on. E, anything else you wanna add as we finish up and then move to the next interview?
No, thanks. Really thanks for inviting. It's really nice chatting with you.
I was like I said, I was blown away by the performance of the multimodality. I was blown away by the tonality understanding, which I've never experienced in any model so far. I heard that it's possible, and I saw some technical stuff. I never experienced this on something like my videos as well. Definitely, folks should play around with the demo. I'll add this in the show notes and follow E and Reka. And oh yeah, one last thing, E, before you go, what's the meaning of Reka? I know this is a word in Hebrew that I know, but like, what's the meaning of this word? Like, where did this come from? I was really curious.
I think one of the meanings is not official, it's not canon, but like one of the meaning it comes from like the Eureka in Eureka, like Eureka, like the Reka in Eureka. But it's not this is not canon. It's just one of the interpretations of that. But it's a bit reverse engineered. When people ask us, this is what we say. But that's actually like I think that's like it's not really like canon.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining, and folks definitely should go check out the demo. And I think the tradition continues because now we're moving on to the fusion area, and we have the awesome chance to have Dome here. And we just released, or I guess we saw this week, a new release from Stable Diffusion called Stable Cascade. And Dome, I reacted to Imad's tweet about this, like, hey Imad, you want to come to thursdai? And he said Dome and I think, did you say Rodrigo as the other guy, are the real heroes. And I want to welcome Dome to the stage. Dome, welcome. Feel free to unmute yourself, give a brief introduction. Let's talk about Stable Cascade.
Hi, Alan. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Pablo, yes, sorry. Yes, I'll find him.
Yeah, maybe you can invite him.
Pablo,
Oh my God.
Could you raise your hand and request to join the stage so I'll be able to add you? And yeah, Dom, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my name's Dom. I joined Stability a couple months only ago, and I'm currently enrolled in Germany in a degree. I'm currently finishing that up, and I've met Pablo more than a year ago, and ever since that we started working on generative models, mostly in vision, so image.
So did you ever hear about
modelity,
the
and also
Egyptian god
slowly
Cat?
moving into video
I
stuff.
did, yeah.
And yeah,
Okay,
at
then I
some
won't go
point,
there.
so pretty early, we already connected to
I am
Stability
familiar.
VLL, and at some point they liked what we were doing and liked the progress of how the paper that we called Würstchen was going, which is German and means sausage. I can tell more about
Oh,
that
that's what
later
it
if
means.
anyone's interested.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so then we joined the apply team, and we were able to work on the third version of it, which in the end then was called Stable Cascade, just to make it fit in more, not to confuse people where that name comes from, what's the third version about, and yeah.
Awesome. So
That's that.
let's say hi to Pablo as well. Welcome, Pablo. Feel free to mute yourself. A brief intro from you as well. And let's talk about what makes Cascade different than SDXL or even the V2.
Hi, Alex. Well, a bit about myself. I am a machine learning researcher. I used to work before working at Stability. I used to work at Disney. So I was able to bring a lot of interesting ideas from there. And then I joined Dom, and we have been working on very cool things since I met him. And the latest is our new Stable Cascade.
That's awesome. So let's talk about Stable Cascade. I've been able to test this out, and the things I was able to, the things that blew me away were like speed, inference speed as well, but also like the base model already has hands built in and they're fine. So you guys said you're working the Wurstian for a couple iterations and this became Stable Cascade. Like where, talk to me about the history and why is it so good and so fast?
Well,
Yeah, sure.
Let's go Dom and then Pablo. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the biggest difference, and I think that's what it boils down eventually, is the space or the dimension where stuff is generated for the text conditional part, and for Stable Diffusion XL is that they have this thing called the VAE, which takes images and just compresses it down to a smaller space. And the only reason to do that is just that you work at a smaller resolution, which then gives you faster training and faster inference. So, like, imagine training or generating stuff at a pixel resolution of 1024, so 1 megapixel. This will be a lot slower than if you try to train the same model at 32 by 32, for example. So the idea is you still want to have high quality, high resolution images, but you don't want to generate at that very high pixel space. So you just try to find something how you can compress it even further. And up until now, people always use VAEs, VQ-GANs, normal autoencoders, and so on. But they reach limits very early on, so you can get to like a spatial compression of 8. So Pablo had this incredible idea of using a diffusion model to increase that compression, basically. And long story short, by using a diffusion model on top of a normal VAE, or you could also like leave the VAE away and just start at pixel space, you can achieve much higher compressions because you have a diffusion model that can iteratively the rough details, and then later on at the high frequency details. So it has just a lot more to reconstruct an image, and that it's possible to compress images a lot further. And the version that we have now achieves a compression of 42, and that makes a huge difference in terms of training and inference time. And that's probably what you saw, because then the big model, the 6 billion, which is quite big for images, Stable Diffusion XL is in the large text. So yeah, this makes it just a lot faster, and then you have the diffusion, which works at a higher resolution, but needs a lot less steps. Combining this gives or results in making the model very fast.
That's super cool. I want to switch back to Pablo just real quick. So I'm looking at this graph for inference speed, but also check out some of the examples. One thing that I noticed is kind of the real-time rendering, basically, of how the model kind of searches through the diffusion space.
Oh my
and
god.
the last step kind of just like kicks into like super high resolution. Pablo, what can you tell us from like some exciting or maybe surprising results that you've seen or people using it? And yeah, feel free to speak about your cool model a little bit more.
Yeah, I have been really surprised on how well this model could be. We were not expecting it to be as good as it is. We started this more as an experimental idea of trying to achieve the same quality of existing models, but focusing on speed, on performance. But then somehow we ended up with a model that was like very competitive. And yeah, I don't know. I think well, this last step, as you mentioned, is the upsampling stage, which is this diffusion model that Dominic mentioned, that can bring the image from 24 by 24 latent to like 1 megapixel, and that's why you see this like very big difference between the previous to last and the last step.
Yeah, the last step is like poof, high quality. I love it.
Yeah, we actually provided a viewer. So when you work in this very highly compressed latent space, in order to be able to see what the model is doing, we have this very tiny convolutional
Oh shit.
model
Nice.
that can preview what's going on. That's what you're seeing, which looks pretty blurry. And then, yeah, the final step does that. And yeah, why the model can make text enhance. We're also pretty surprised. The big
Text is also very impressive. I think let's not skip over this. The out of the box text is so good. Like compared to let's say the Stable Diffusion 1.4 with it released, which was bigger, right? I think it was like 5 GB or something. This is just miles better, and the text out of the box, hands out of the box is very impressive. Text is super cool as well. Very surprising. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the biggest difference compared to V2, which was our previous iteration of the model, was the size of of the model and the quality of the model, which I think like it shows how important that is. And I think probably since our model is able to work in this very highly compressed space, it can learn much more efficiently. If it has good data, it can learn much more efficiently this kind of things. Maybe it learns them faster than other models, which is why yeah, we're able to have this kind of results.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming up. I really wanted to make sure that yeah, you guys get the recognition because like really cool. This is under the Stability membership, right? This is not like fully open source, but folks are going to be able to use this model for their stuff and maybe keep training. Does it support all of the fine tuning in the LoRa ecosystem as well?
Yeah, one
Yeah,
one
yeah.
detail. It's not yet on the subscription. It's still for only for research, but it will change probably in following weeks, I guess.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Dom, go ahead.
No, there was what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely welcome to. Go ahead, Pablo, and then we're gonna move on.
No,
But I just
sorry.
wanted
Yeah,
to.
you asked about the LoRa's and control nets. Yeah,
Yes.
we made sure to provide some example code for training LoRa's, control nets, and the full fine tunings on our repository. We also provide some pre-trained control nets for indenting, for tiny edges, for super resolution, which is not the best super resolution model out there, but it's like interesting to share with the community. And we provided Tiny Laura with a dumb sketch, which is pretty fun. And
Nice.
yeah, and I think that's it for now. That's all.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining, and folks, definitely give Dom and Pablo a follow. Folks, really great shout out for building this and releasing this from Stability, and it looks really good. And I'm sure the community will adopt this. I already seen a bunch of AI artists in my kind of field are getting very excited about the possibilities here. Thank you for your work and thank you for coming for thursdai. Please feel free to stay because we're gonna cover a bunch of other stuff as well, like super quick. Meanwhile, I just want to do a quick reset. It's been an hour and let's say 35 minutes since we're here. If you're just joining us, you're on the Thursday X space, which is live recording for the Thursday podcast and newsletter. I'm your host, Alex Volkov. I'm here joined by co-host Mr. on stage, Yaman Spoken, and we have Swix here who dropped off the stage, but he's in the microphone. And I will move towards a corner that I have, and then I have a surprise from Swix. I'm moving towards the corner that I have usually, which is called This Week's Buzz, where I talk about the stuff that we have or I learn in Weights and Biases every week. So if you are subscribed to the newsletter, you definitely already know this. I just kind of learn as I go and talk about this. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, why not? I guess you'll be up to date with everything that happens in the world of AI. So definitely check out thursdai.news. This is the URL, https thursdai.news. And this week's buzz is all about this new course that we released with Hamel Hussein about putting models in production. So I think I've spoken about this before. Weights and Biases has an academy. We release courses, and the courses are free for you. There's a bunch of knowledge. The last one we talked about was with Jason Liu about instructor, and we also have Hamel Hussein who released a course about model management and in production as well. And this is definitely a very illuminating one, including how to use Weights and Biases for the best companies do, like OpenAI does, and like Microsoft and Meta, and hopefully we'll get Google at some point. Definitely a course is worth checking out and signing up for. This will be in the show notes as well, and I'll post the link as well here. And now I'm gonna actually, yeah, Swix is now back on stage, and here's my surprise. If you guys follow and you know Swix's voice, you know that he's a co-host of Latent Space together with Alessio, and we're now sitting in the Latent Space pod studio, which looks incredible. The surprise is I don't remember you being on the other side of the mic, so this is like a surprise interview with Alex and Swix, but you're going to be a guest and not a host. And I just wanted to hear about some stuff that you guys doing and how Latent Space is going, like all these things. So this turns in from thursdai into thursdai like deep dive interview, just a brief one. I figured I'd use the opportunity to give you a surprise. This was not staged. Swix told me he may not be able to even join because you just flew back from Singapore.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So as
I feel
every
like we talk so much, and you've been a guest on our pod like 5 times. So
yes, and I would want to start with how you would introduce yourself to the audience that doesn't know you.
So I'm Swix. I mostly work on developer tooling and mostly known as the editor or podcaster of Latent Space, which has done pretty well. I think we're celebrating our first year anniversary pretty soon. And on the other half of my life is I'm working on Small AI and AI Engineer Conference, which we just announced for June 25th to 27th.
Yeah. So you've had quite a long career in like DX as well. I think Netlify, you had a stint in Netlify.
Yeah, I was one of their earliest employees / DevRel of Netlify. That's where a lot of people know me. That's where I became quote unquote famous in developer tooling and in React specifically, because I did a lot of content on React and serverless speaking and writing. And then I've been head of developer experience for Temporal, Airbyte, and then also spent a year at AWS working on the same thing.
Awesome. I also from that kind of that side of your career, you work with the Chroma guys as well, and
yes,
Chroma just announced that they have been a year around, and like millions of companies that probably had something to do with that. So shout out Jeff and wow, I'm blanking out on the guy's name. Anton, thank you.
Yeah. So I consulted for them on their DevRel when they were doing the sort of their first hackathon a year ago, actually. I think they're. It seems like they are the leaders in open source vector databases. Retool. We did a chat or interview with David Su, the founder of Retool, and Retool did a state of AI survey among their customers, like what they're using, and Chroma was like up and to the right in terms of like the adoption and the NPS score, which I think NPS is actually a very important metric to keep tracking.
Yeah.
So like really really cool. Glad to be involved with Chroma.
So definitely shout out Chroma. They're doing great things. Hopefully their managed service is coming soon, and we're gonna have folks. You've been also prolific in writing. Like I know many people go to your blog and like the stuff that you have. How many publications in total are you like publishing your content in right now? You have your own personal one. You have Latent
I have
Space.
3 blogs.
3 blogs.
But Latent Space is the currently primary active blog. I have a personal one, and then I have a developer tools advising one because I do a bunch of angel investing and advising for people. And I don't know. I think that more people should blog. It helps you think through what you think that you know and share your knowledge with other people. And also, actually, the most valuable thing is the most embarrassing thing, which is when you get things wrong. People will come out and correct you, and you'll be embarrassed for a second, but then you'll remember the lesson forever.
Can you give me an example of something that you went wrong and people corrected you, and then this improved your thinking?
I mean, let's just say I had one yesterday or coming into today, right? Because I do a monthly recap.
Yeah.
Where I think what thursdai does is recap news every week. And then other people like NLW from the breakdown recaps news every day. And I think the lower frequency granularity of a month means that I only get to do 12 of these a year. And that forces me to think through, like, okay, what is really actually important when you step back and think about it. And so for my January recap, January was kind of a slow month, to be honest. Like, today was more news than January.
Yes.
Right? So I was trying to recap January, and I was like, okay, like, nothing super interesting this month. What do we, if we step back, is important for AI progress? And I listed a bunch of things, long inference and all that. One thing I specifically said was not interesting for state-of-the-art models was long context. I said that yesterday. It's published. I sent it out to 35,000 people, including Satya Nadella, Drew Houston, all the people who read the newsletter. And
Satya doesn't read. He also participates. Like, he clicks on links. Like, there's an engagement, active engagement with Satya from Living Space.
So it's embarrassing, but also, like, it just forces me to think about, like, okay, how much do I really believe in million token and 10 million token context? And I know, like, now today I learned that Nat Friedman strongly disagrees.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's useful to update. And Google. Yeah. I think, like, it's basically so it's not about that specific point, right? Because we can always debate the pros and cons of that. But the act of writing down what you believe and taking strong opinions, instead of saying that everything is awesome, instead of celebrating every little bit of progress as equally important, you have to rank them. And being wrong in your rankings gives you information to update your rankings.
Yeah.
And if you don't give yourself the chance to be wrong, then you don't really learn.
Okay. I'm willing to be wrong, like, almost every week, which is awesome. And so you publish a bunch of stuff. Some of the stuff that you publish turns into more than just an article. You have essays, and I think the one essay that I remember obviously is about the AI engineer essay. Talk to me about kind of thinking about how you approach writing this. Is that stuff that you saw? And I think, as background for folks who are not familiar with you and kind of where you are in you're sitting in the middle of the arena that you helped also coin in San Francisco, right? We're in the middle of, like, Soma, Mission, Hayes Valley, somewhere there, if I'm not confusing. We're in this space. It's called Newton, that you're also, like, I think you're plugging in latent space, where tons of companies that we know from, like, the Twitter sphere are just literally behind us here. There's, like, Tab with Avi and Julius with Rahul, like a bunch of other companies, like, sitting right here, building, like, very cool things. And this is an example of one of those kind of hubs within the bigger bubble of San Francisco. And you, as far as I'm concerned, is very plugged into this, even before coming to AI Engineer, right? And potentially this is the reason why AI Engineer, the conference, had so many amazing speakers on stage, because I think you told me back then, a lot of, like, personal favors were pulled to get some folks to show up on that. And so, as somebody who's an outsider from Denver, where I sit, right, this is incredible to see, but also it's very hard to, like, penetrate and understand, like, what's going on, what the trends are. And this is part of the reason for thursdai. So you're sitting in the middle of this, you have all these connections. You said you're an angel investor as well. How does this, like, shape your thinking about the AI engineer? Do these old people talking, like, the hackathons, and how do you draw to create something like this that's fairly seminal, that now people are considering themselves AI engineers?
Okay. Okay. So there's two questions here, if I can do rag on your questions.
Yeah, please.
Which is that one, how do you write impactful perspectives or come up with interesting ideas that will stick around? And two, how do you make sense of San Francisco, especially as an outsider.
Yeah.
And I think people can hear in my voice that I'm not American. I'm Singaporean, and the last 7 years of my developer career, I did not spend in San Francisco. I only moved here in April of last year. So you don't have to be an SF to have a background in tech. Oh, I think the other thing I should offer as context is that I have been blogging for quite a bit. I often say that you have to blog 50 times a year, but in order to get like one post a year that makes up the entire year, it's the one that people know you for. So this is my sort of fourth or fifth quote unquote industry defining blog post. So I've done this for serverless runtimes and cloud orchestration and AWS. So like I've done this before, and I knew the work that goes into writing something like this. Rise of the AI Engineer took 2 months. I had a few potential collaborators who ultimately did not co-author, but were heavily involved. And so like I can talk about the writing of the post, but the main inspiration is trying to figure out like what is important direction. And it is not purely about coining a term, which I think is a very vanity metric.
Yeah.
But it is about picking directions in terms of identifying what is wrong about the zeitgeist. So if you rewind this time 1 year ago, people were very much focusing on prompt engineering. People were worried about the end of jobs for AI, for engineers, for software engineers. And I think both have been kind of proven wrong in terms of like the scope of the prompt engineer. Now you no longer really hear about professional prompt engineers because it's been replaced by the AI engineer who can code.
Yep.
And I think the importance of the ability to code, to wield AI, makes you 1,000 times more effective than people who use AI without the ability to code. And I think identifying this core difference in ability, understanding that this stack is starting pretty thin and small, but it's going to grow over time. Understanding that it is fundamentally very different from the ML engineer stack is a part of the mix that made me convinced that AI engineer would be a category to invest in, which is why I started the conference and then pivoted the newsletter and podcast.
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of that as well. So definitely the audience that thursdai draws, at least in part, is AI engineers, but also in part like folks who train and fine-tune models. And I've noticed like a little bit of a AI engineering is almost like the gateway drug into the larger AI stuff, because at least the folks that I'm familiar with, the folks who are like JS, TS devs, that did the Netlify stint, that did React, etc., they started to build with these tools. The tools are like significantly easier to get into than traditional ML. You just do some API calls, OpenAI exposes a bunch of stuff, and suddenly you're like, oh, okay, I've tapped to all this power, this incredible power. I'm building intuitions about how to use this power. I'm building intuitions how to put this power in production for my users. They tell me some feedback. How do I do more of this? Am I only limited to OpenAI? Or maybe I can go to the open source and try some stuff like this. Maybe I can do Llama, which, by the way, shout out to Llama, our friends, just released the Windows thing. Maybe I can do this like locally on device. Maybe I can do
did they
some
just release Windows? That's awesome.
All these new tools are popping up, and these people are sounding like from a very limited scope of API users are growing into API users who also have an intuition about like prompting is just one of those things. Embedding in RAG and better RAG systems, which we've seen some folks going there. So definitely the scope grows, and as every category, like front end was a very tiny scope, JavaScript, HTML on the client, and suddenly like you get a full stack. You have front end ops and like all of these like things. So scope grows. Where do people learn about this new and upcoming thing? And I think like the conference is one such way. So we've talked about the conference. This is actually not your first time. I just remembering. I interviewed you after the conference for like a full hour that we had a full conversation. It wasn't about Swix. So how was the conference after the conference received? How did your direction into thinking about latent space and kind of exposing AI in San Francisco to the world? And let's take this to the kind of the next conference where you want to take it. What happened to the AI engineer? I think I asked like 3 or 4 questions. Break them down however you want.
so the conference was really good, but I would actually kind of classify that as the end of a process rather than the start of a process. Like it basically recaps the work that people are doing in the industry over the past year. And then I get to curate and pick and invite people to present the best of their work and their thought, and I think that's a very privileged position. And then for me, the work begins after the conference for the next thing, and I like picking directions and having so last year was like a single track conference. This year for World's Fair we're doing 9 stages.
When is that, just for the audience?
June 25th to 27th.
June 25th. So make sure you sign up. It's gonna be awesome.
We're going 4 times bigger this year, 2,000 people, and last year 17,000 people tuned in on the live stream, and hopefully we'll have more impact this year. But yeah, like, I think for me actually it's a really good way to think about, like, okay, who do people want to hear from, who actually did impactful work that I will be proud to showcase 10 years from now. I'm always thinking about the test of time. And I was very inspired by New Rips, where they actually had it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man.
Did Jeremy Howard get it or something?
No, Jeff Dean.
Jeff Dean. Oh yeah. Shout out Jeff Dean for today, bro.
Yeah, for Word to Effect. I always said, like, so people are speculating, like, what is test of time for next year, and it was like Ilias Iskaver, if he ever shows his face again.
Where's Ilias?
And then I was like, but I know what's gonna win the test of time for 2027.
Tell me.
Which is attention is all you need.
Attention is all you need, definitely. Yeah.
But basically, it's a flex for any conference to say, like, okay, Test of Time Award goes to something that was presented here 10 years ago. Yeah. And that, and Neurus has been going on for 37 years.
So what of the AI engineer presentations would stand the test of time, you think?
Well, the audience has voted. It looks like Pydantic and Jason Liu's instructor is very, 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 very popular.
Yeah.
And I think he's just fundamentally correct that every model, instead of there's like some table stakes versions of every model. You have the base model when you train it, then you have the chat tune model, and now I think it's going to be table stakes that every model should have structured output or function calling, as they call it. And it's even useful if you're not actually using it to generate code or call code, because it's very good for chain of thought. And so Max Wolf, Mini Maxer on Twitter and on Hacker News, actually wrote a really influential post that I'm going to try to showcase. So yeah, for me as a conference curator, like that's what I do. Like I read a lot of stuff, and then I try to feature like the best of things, and also try to make bets that are important. I do think, like, as content creators, like we're kind of like the end of the food chain, end of the value chain, and it's always important to understand like even stuff that we don't pick like is very important and substantial, and it's you're picking for an audience to use at work, which is a small subset of the total progress that humanity can make.
Interesting. Right? Tell me more about this.
I just like, people, if you want to engage in philosophical conversation, you go to Lex Friedman or Rakesh Patel.
Yeah.
And then if you want to like talk about things that you can use in open source, you go to thursdai. And then we have less of an open source focus. We're very much focused on enterprise and things you can use at work to code and to build products and startups with. And so, like, whatever you do, as long as you have a clear focus of the audience that you serve and you know how to reach them, then they will love you because you're making literally the thing for them.
Yep.
And you don't have to appeal to everyone. And I think that's fine.
So, switching gears from the kind of the conference, how did the podcast come about? You said you're coming up on a year of the podcast, and you also said you moved here in April. I didn't know this. You're here for like SF native. So how did the podcast come about? How you and Alessio met? Like, let's talk about latency.
Yeah, and we should talk about doing well in San Francisco and like the tech scene in the US, which I think is important and something I'm going through, but have also done well at.
Yeah.
So the podcast specifically was because I started the newsletter writing opinion pieces on AI stuff. It was actually inspired by Stable Diffusion at the time, which is sort of August 2022-ish.
Same. My life changed after that open sourcing.
Yeah, and then you really run out of opinions very quickly. And then you're like, oh, I need to generate unique or new tokens. The only way to do that is to get source material by interviewing people and putting a microphone in front of them. When people put microphones in front of people, they get more chatty. And sometimes you break news. For us, the big breakthrough was George Hotz when he talked about GPT-4 with being a mixture of experts. Yeah, that was a surprise, but he likes to do that sort of thing. Just
I think
drop random alpha.
he dropped it, and then you guys posted it, and then I had no idea what Mixture of Experts is, as well as like most of us, and then it turns out to be like the true. And now we saw
Now
that
Gemini's
Mixture of Experts, the 1.5, which is quite incredible. So that was like a big thing. Was this like natural to you to start chatting on the microphone? Did you have to like do an adjustment period?
Another thing that people don't know is that I started 4 podcasts before.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not new to the conversation game, and I'm not new to like Audacity and like editing and publishing.
Yeah.
But I think having taken a few runs at it helps to prep you for like when something actually has audience fit, because all the others were very small. There were maybe like a few hundred listeners each time.
Yeah.
This one went to like number 10 on the US tech chart.
Is that the top?
I think that's the highest it's been. Recently, when it was like as high as 16 over the holidays, and then now it's dropped back down again. It's very, very volatile.
But it's like very clear that you're in the top 50 like tech podcasts in the world, even though AI is fairly niche and the topics you discuss are fairly technical. Like when you talk with folks, it's not a general appeal audience for like Sweden does or the guys from the 4 guys, the VCs, right? It's very technical. So very impressive that like you broke the top 50 charts, and it wasn't by chance. You bring like great guests. Like how do you? Is the same approach that you have for the AI engineer guests as well, or are you now getting like requests to come on the podcast from some other folks?
We get requests, but you usually for the people that draw the audiences, you have to go reach out to them. That's how it is.
I heard one such person now does not work in OpenAI, so he can potentially join podcast as well.
He's a listener, and he has said that he'll come on at some point.
We're talking about Bad Mephisto.
So yeah, I don't think it's actually just guess. I think it's also about focus on topics, and then being engaged enough with the material that you get to ask questions that no one else asks. Because, for example, if you have a VC asking questions, they often ask about market and business. But if you're an engineer, you're really asking about like API and like limitations and like trade-offs, stuff like that. Things that you don't really get into unless you're like actually evaluating it to use something at work. And I think that's important. And also, I think a lot of guests, for us, we try to be like the first podcast that somebody has done. Like we're the first podcast for Fine, for Cursor, for a bunch of these guys. So they're not experienced speakers. They're not. Some of them are good speakers, but they're not experienced at the whole like telling their story and all that. So you have to kind of help them. But it doesn't matter because I think you just try to serve your audience at the end of the day, right? Like what do people want to know? Ask those questions and then get out of the way and let them talk.
Yep.
I think that the other thing that we do, the reason I say it's not just guests, is because we do special episodes where we have like breaking news. We haven't done one in a while because I don't know. I think you have taken that spot of.
I mean,
like,
this is kind of it, right? Like, we got like 3 breaking news. You were here. This is kind of that as well.
And then we also do like events recaps. So we did Dev Day, we did Europe's. And that is like a really big sort of editing process work that I really like to do, where you're basically performing the work of summarization and curation instead of doing long-form interviews, and people really like that.
The summarization part, like the multiple folks. I think I participated in one. You did one in Dev Day, Europe's as well. So what's now that we're coming up on an annual kind of thing for Latent Space? What's next for Latent Space?
More conversations. That's the weird thing. Like, we think that we've done like well and like have done as well as a technical podcast can do in like the general podcasting space. The ultimate like number of people who listen to podcasts is still very low compared to the general audience that might be interested in the same kind of content.
Yeah.
That's why I branch out into a conference where you produce talks and very highly polished and all that. We like the way to grow a podcast is to not just podcast, like is to actually write, where my essays still get a lot more readers than listeners, than to grow on YouTube or whatever, and like that's fine. I think ultimately podcasting is a mix of entertainment and education, right? Like you have to be attached to like some kind of story, some kind of personality, and then learn something along the way that might be useful at work.
Yeah.
So I think like personally, I like growing as a podcaster is about just growing your influence or understanding of an industry in general and the ability to serve an audience, and then maybe opening up as hosts and as industry experts as we gain knowledge and understanding, so that people come to us not just for access to guests but access to us as well, which people have when we did like the end of year listener survey, like people actually requested for us to have more mic time.
Yes.
So Alessio and I did our first like just the two of us conversation in a year, and that was really good.
Wow. So are you playing more of those?
Yeah, we used to do these like one-on-one episodes where we do like introductions to a topic. Like we did datasets 101, benchmarks 101, and we did transformer map 101, and then we also did RLHF 201. And so we want to do more of those where it's like it's like kind of inspired by Acquired FM. And the work for this kind of episode is so different than a normal chat, because in normal chat you just sit down and you maybe you prep a bit of question, you research the other guy's background, and then you just have a nice conversation and that's it. Whereas for a content heavy episode like that one, you do a week of research and you compile a whole bunch of stuff and you simmer it in your mind, and then you try to rehash it and introduce it for an audience who hasn't done that amount of work. So yeah, that is a lot more work upfront, but obviously it's very high value, and also I like to call it evergreen, right? Like evergreen content, meaning like you want to build up something that will still be useful and relevant in a year.
Yeah. So definitely, let me just like take a personal position here with Latent Space. I've been a guest host, I guess, in Latent Space a couple of times in special episodes as well. Now this studio is like super cool, like a home away from home. They're able to come here, do the spaces, chat with you, chat with Alessio, and like tap into like the AI scene in San Francisco. And I've learned a bunch from just the way you run this. So Latent Space, for folks who are listening, is not only just a podcast. So if you're subscribing on just your Spotify or Apple News, you're missing a big part of it, which is the newsletter that you send, which has a bunch of links and show notes and folks that you talk about.
There's one more part.
There's another
Discord.
Oh, there's also Discord. You do paper readings as well, right? There's a whole community that you're building.
The Discord is surprisingly good. Like for the zero effort that I put into it, people just show up and then they ask really very good questions. They drop things that I don't know, and then I learn from the Discord, and then I talk about it later. But yeah, Discord has a lot of alpha. It's surprising because like I have this like newsletter that I have this bot that summarizes all the top AI Discords, right? So obviously like the top ones are like Luther, the bloke, what else?
Midjourney is a big one.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, but like that's not very technical. That's also Midjourney has 8 million members. That's something like 13% of total Discord membership. It's freaking crazy. But anyway, so like the Discord is the community attachment to the podcast and the newsletter. And then it's people interacting with each other. Some people getting jobs, some people getting investments. Founders coming in and VCs there also funding them. And like I really think that every piece of content like is a minimum viable community. Right? People gather. They're chatting in like the Twitter space comments right now. They're chatting in your newsletter comment section. But if you let people gather together live, whether it's online or in person, like we also have like in-person meetups. I just had one in Singapore. We have one in San Francisco, I think monthly, or I hope to have it monthly. And then obviously once a year you get people together for like a really big conference where like they put out their best work. So I call this community annealing, right? You have cold community, like podcasts are cold. And newsletters are cold because they're asynchronous.
Oh man, they do kind of
like
ramble.
there's not
around
somebody
a lot
there.
on
You
that
don't
podcast.
expect
They
to respond to
do
them.
a little bit, yeah.
Twitter Spaces are warm because they're live, and
This is why I
there's
started trying
sometimes
to
a live
focus
feedback.
on this sort of
Discords are
hour
live,
blocks with
but when
the stuff I was doing
when
on
they're hot
Wednesday.
is when like everyone is on the same
The
call
what now?
and then you're looking at each other's eyes.
Oh, I
and,
realized because we had a kind of
you're
like energy
conversing and
faded
you're having like real
like by
bond
the
and
third
relationship.
hour we were always talking about
And so like
high
communities
energy
need this whole
physics or like
range of like
crazy just
warm and
theories
hot
and
and
shit.
cold.
Mm-hmm.
I started
And
trying to do hours
I try to build that for
themes that way at least
So
people coming in
for
could
folks
like
who are just
tune into what
listening on
they wanted.
podcast,
Like,
you're
do you want to
missing
be there for
several
the
parts
paper
of the
reading?
interface.
Sure,
newsletter
yeah,
definitely
time
worth
blocking
it.
is a
Link
good
in that space is actually
good thing to do.
Yeah, the first hour was
but
supposed
that
to
was
be show and
donated by
tell. Second was
Oh, really?
paper reading.
not
Third
donated,
was
sold to us.
crazy waffling.
You could consider
Yeah,
it
I think
donation.
that's basically what they're, or it seems
Speaking
like
of work,
they covered
I think we need to
news
wrap up
first, and now it's
to 2
like
hours,
a
and I
different
want to
like,
get
oh,
back to
here's
work.
Swix doing X or Y thing.
Also want to
It
check
seems
out
like a good
the
format
stuff
to kind of
that they're
structure
really-
it.
Any last kind of parting
That way.
thoughts here?
Waffling with show and
Maybe
tell hour.
let's
That's why
touch
it seems kind of strange.
briefly, or is that a bigger
Mhm.
conversation? How to succeed in SF, or is that for a later
Oh
podcast?
yeah.
Oh man, this is such an interesting topic, especially for people who are not in SF, right?
Yeah.
I think
Challenge is
SF
the
is
human
a
brain and attention span, right? Like dealing with
group of
kids in
humans
class
and
for
not
an
a
Oh,
hour.
I imagine none of us have any of it.
and they are mostly
It was
available on
really
Twitter.
cool. Shuffle VR
And
every hour.
sometimes they often gather in and yes, when you meet them in person, there are some people that are not famous online
I remember reading with all my general
not
psychology
fully
studies.
consistently candid
the
online
actual
that you
solid
talk to
attention
them in
mechanism
person and
is
you're like,
10
oh,
to
okay,
15
I
minutes
fully
per
understand you
information
now and everything that you've done and everything that you're going to do, I understand where you're coming from. And to me, that is obviously very high alpha. That's why I moved here.
Drop
But
this.
you don't
and
have
that.
to go there directly, right?
I
One
don't know
of
if
my
you looked at the idea
mentors
I posted that was
in
inspired in your
career
DM
is
message.
Andrew
You
Chen,
gave me a great
who
little
basically
idea.
blogs his way into
Depends on where you
partnering.
posted it, but
Like
probably
he
not.
runs
DM'd
one of
to
their
you,
top
so I don't
three
know.
funds,
But,
the consumer
like,
funds.
Make,
And
your
he
first attempt
consistently is
mode
like,
where you can go
hey,
back
just
to
like
your past games,
put out your
play
best
in the
work,
same
learn in
world.
public, tweet
It'd be
a
kind
lot.
of cool to integrate dark and darker into that. as a
Instead of going to all
module,
these parties,
the
you know,
same
there's
way
there's
that,
always
like,
a party every
Star
week
Citizen
in
really
San
is just a bunch
Francisco.
of
Every
multi-module
day, multiple
games
stacks a
together,
day,
right?
sometimes, yeah.
First person
There was one Thursday
shooter,
last year
fire,
at 10 a.m.
whatnot,
meetups
so you can actually go
in
into
San
the other
Francisco.
module and do that shit. It'll be kind of
Can't
cool.
make
right?
it
If you
to all
had
of
And
them.
so you can
single-player
go
people,
through
like,
the
do Raven
motions
World
of
Dungeons,
networking,
or text and
but
advanced
you still end up
societies
with
for
a
people that are
smaller
playing the
network
civilization
than you
game.
would if you
So,
stayed
like,
at home
the store you go
and
to
you
is
just wrote
actually
a lot,
somebody's
Mm.
town.
or you thought a
where you're,
lot,
like,
or you did
selling
quality work.
old laser guns you don't need for
And
the town
so then you don't have to be in San Francisco
exchange
to
for
do
like all cool shit.
you can keep doing that.
Yeah, well,
And
the
then, you know,
even
there's
though like straight up
big
Dark and Darker
companies
clones on Steam have done pretty well, like where they just
And
ripped
that's
assets
totally
off
fine. Like
store.
I don't
Well,
intend
that's
to
the
stay in
thing
San
too. Every
Francisco
new game
forever,
always
right? Like
inspires
I
kind of a
have
genre.
once I know enough
Like,
people,
what are
I
the
can
fucking
just come here
vampire
like once a
survivors
quarter,
clones there are
and
after
people will
brought
still
back
stay
Twin
Yeah.
Cities, even though people aren't playing them
that's
with
fine.
Twin
I get this
Cities.
question quite a lot. I've been here maybe like this is the fourth or fifth time for the past 6 months. I get this question, do you live here? I was like, no.
Yeah.
That's how it
I think
goes.
like
Oh, here's
people
a
are
really
just
good
like
lesson for you before I
borders.
take off in terms of
I'm a border
marketing.
disrespecter,
Chunky
and I think
pasta
I
sauce
hope
story.
more
You
people
ever hear it?
do that.
The what?
But do come into San Francisco every
Chunky
now and
pasta
then.
sauce story.
Maybe for
Turnkey pasta sauce is what I'm hearing.
But otherwise, otherwise, people work online and people will notice it and find you and chat with you.
You know, like chunky, it's got
Oh, chunky.
So much as
fully
plugging into the
So the thing
mentality
is,
and the community.
back in like the 50s
Well,
or
Switch,
60s,
that's been
America
surprising that
didn't
they've been
use the
planning
South
this
as
every
a
year. I
path.
haven't heard in a while.
Being, even though
The
people
anniversary of
made it
latency is
home,
coming up.
the
Huge
original people
kudos
that
for
manufactured
this
the
effort.
pasta
Like
sauce
huge kudos.
are just
Big,
never
big,
thought to
big, big thank
include
you from me
it.
because
Well,
a lot of
Italian
the stuff you did,
Americans
you and
have
Alessio like
introduced
pulled me
Italian
through.
food
I
had
still get
never
like a bunch
had
of listens
chunky pasta
Thursday
sauce
from
because it was
Blazing
simply never
on
been
Substack,
offered.
and so a huge
then
thanks
this
for me
guy
because
does
you
testing
kind of
like they
shape
do with ad
what I'm doing as
agencies,
well.
and he
The
makes
newsletter and the
chunky
podcast
pasta
combo
sauce.
that I
And
kind of
people in the
forced
testing fucking
every
love
week.
it. So they
This
add it to
was
the
based
show,
on the
and it's
Substack
a
stuff from you as well,
And
and
people
I really
think
appreciate your
was an
friendship
hobby.
as well. So
They
thank you for coming up on
make it to
Thursday.
buy
Thanks
it.
for hosting us in Latent Space. And with that, I think I'll move on to the last piece of what we have on Thursday, folks, which is a recap of everything we talked about. And then I'll just briefly run through recap, and I'll let you go
So
through
that's
your
why I
day.
always
We
think
had an. Let me
decentralization
just
of new
start with the
topics
music,
is so
obviously,
interesting
because like
because it
how
unlocks
actually
things
this works.
essentially. People don't know, they can't use it.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, folks, back for the recap. Today's Thursday, February 15th. This is a recap of everything we talked about, and ooh boy, this was one of the worst days to be caught outside of my own personal production studio because my breaking news button didn't make it all the way here, and there was so much breaking
He's got a
news. So
breaking
obviously,
news
as I woke
button.
up, the
What a
biggest breaking
professional.
news of today was I actually cannot decide what was the biggest breaking news. So the first piece of breaking news from today was Google releasing a teaser of Gemini 1.5. And 1.5
Well, I think
was
my
not
final
only
statement will be I can't wait to get
continuation of Gemini
memory
Pro that we got
available on
last week. 1.5
ChatGPT just to
actually
see what
was
insane
teased
shit I
with
can do with my
up to
Yeah, I'm
1
interested
million,
to
a
play
whopping
with it
1
myself.
million
Should be fun.
tokens in the context window,
Well,
which
my
is
biggest problem thus
incredible.
far, like,
It's
has been with
just
all
for
the fine-tuning,
comparison,
even being
ChatGPT is
1 month
currently at
longer,
128,
doesn't have
and
the
Claude
generation
2,
stage
like the
on
best
it, right?
highest
So, like,
offering up
can
until
I
Gemini
essentially, like,
was
fine-tune
200K
it by
with
talking
Anthropic
to it
Claude
about the paper and
Advanced,
giving it a
and
copy of the
Google
paper,
teased this
like,
out
I
60
suspect
times?
the answer to
1
that
million
is going to
tokens
be
in
more or
just 1
less
week. They
yes.
have up to 10 million tokens
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the
Or
window
rather, you can
in the demos, which is
what do they
incredible.
call it?
And
In
they've shown a
context
bunch of
learning it.
demos. They did the
Yeah,
needle in a
exactly.
haystack
I'm just
Close
analysis
kind of
enough.
we talked about
rhetorical
from Greg
statements, different
Conrad, and
personalities
just
looking
quite
forward
an
to.
incredible
Oh my
release
god,
from them.
why
We
can I
talked
not
about that
find
you
a
can put
Falchion
a
that
whole like
has
hour of a
anything on
movie
it?
of
It's so dumb.
Dustin Keaton, I think it's called, and
Peace
then you
out,
can
guys.
actually ask questions
Later,
about the
buddy.
movie. It
Thanks
will
for
give you the
stopping by.
exact time
I'll
step of
catch you
something happens.
around.
We talked about it being
Yeah,
multimodal,
you know, and if you
where
ever
you can
want to
provide
chill
a
with the general
sketch and
folks,
say,
come
hey,
by.
when
It's like always
this
fun.
Yeah, I
happens,
always
it will
forget.
pull out just
Or like, do you still do
incredibly
your
like
Wednesday
magic,
thing,
mind-blowing,
or
mind-blowing
not so
stuff.
much
I'm
anymore?
not doing
And all of
that
this
till like
needs a lot
probably
of context
end of
because you
April
take
when I
this
bring
video,
it back on Spaces.
you take
Oh,
this
for
video,
sure.
Just
you
'cause
turn it
I want to
into
make sure
images, you
everything's done
send
with
this
the
into
house and
context.
some weird
They
ass
also
shit
talked about
happened
you can
where
send
like
10 hours of
the other
audio
province my
within
ex lived
one
in
prompt and then some
recalculated
add
child support without us asking.
prompts
Yeah, I
about
remember
it.
you
You know,
mentioning
like
something
The
about
quality
that.
of retrieval is
yeah,
very,
I'm
very
overthinking
high.
for
We're
2
talking about
years,
like
and
90
instead of doing the
plus
actual thing and
percentage,
being like, oh
95
well,
plus
that's
percentage
great
in
for me,
needle
fuck
in a
you,
haystack,
haha.
which is
And we got a
incredible. Again,
disabled kid.
we
I'm
had
like, fuck, we're
Enrico
gonna fix
Cipolla, a
that.
friend
So
of the pod,
I'm
who
just
worked
like
on
kind of
the
making sure all that other shit's
yard
done.
paper and the
The
rope
running
methods
joke
before
alongside the
extending
thermodynamics
the
one,
llama
right?
context,
Oh,
and
how
he
hard is
brought
it to set up your Python
like 4
environments?
papers
Well,
or
pretty
something
fucking
that
hard if your
show
house
that
ain't
open
clean.
source is
You gotta clean
actually
your house
unlocking
first.
this ability as well. And
It
not
do be
only
pretty
like
hard.
today was a incredible
Like,
day
I'm just
just
getting that
generally,
all
but
done.
not only
Because the
Google
little bit
talked
of
about
trips I
Rush
did this
context window.
for
We
going
also
to shows and
saw
stuff
that Nat
made me
Friedman and
realize that
Daniel
even
Gross
just a
just
few
invested
days
$100 million
travel really
in a
fucks
company
with
called
your
Magic
memory buffer
that they
for big
also talk about
projects. So I
multimodality
want to
and
just get
large
this
context
place
window up to
fully
1 terabyte
clean
as
or
well.
as clean
So
as
it
I
was very
can in the
interesting
next
to see
15
both of
days.
them release kind of
And
on
then
the same
because it's
day as
technically
well.
been a year
We
since I
then
started
geeked out
ChatGPT,
about
I'm
Gemini.
gonna
We
just
talked
like
about
dive
Victor
back
Pache
into
leaving
programming
OpenAI
again
and
because there's a
invited
certain
him
like
to come to thursdai and to
space
join
I
the
was
space
in
as well.
before we were
And then we
doing
also
Gatto, where I
mentioned
wasn't
OpenAI
talking to
adds
many
memory
people and just the
and
system.
personalization
And
to
you start to get a sort of
ChatGPT, which is
blissed
super
out
cool. They
transcendent
didn't
way
release
of
it to many
prop
people yet, but
programming
personalization is
because
my
like people don't
personal
talk quite the same as AI. So
thread
if you're
of
doing it for like
2024
5
because
months
these
straight,
models,
your
especially with the
linguistics shift a bit.
larger
So I'm going
context
to try
window
and
with
get out of talking to people that I
perfect
haven't like
recall, these
specifically
models
talked to for
will
months and
become
months.
our buddies that
So
will
like
remember everything
Ubako and
about us,
Data and Ansel will be like
specifically,
some of my
especially
only
tied
contacts
into
for a few
different
months.
devices, like the tab
For
that's
sure.
somewhere here behind me.
Well,
It's
I
getting
wish
real
you
to
great
touch this stuff.
fortune with such an endeavor. It sounds productive.
We briefly mentioned that NVIDIA
Yeah,
released a
I'm
chat
not
with
the
RTX,
biggest change
local
from
models that
last
you
year
can
is
download
like
and
I'm
run
just
on
not
your
worried about
NVIDIA
anything anymore
GPUs. It has
in a
ragdoll bit.
general
It
sense.
has
Like
chat
even if
with
it
YouTube
takes me
videos, and
5
it's super
years
cool.
to
We
get
talked
everything
about
put
Bahir
together,
releasing
I
IA
know I'm still
101
going to be like in
multimodal,
the
and
pack of
our
people leading
friend
the
of
world,
the
even
pod,
if I'm on the
Pharrell,
back
was
edge of
talking
it.
about
Doesn't
how he
matter.
wasn't
I
finding
made
it
it
like
to the
super
ivory
impressive.
tower.
Unfortunately, he dropped
Even if
Well,
in the middle of
that's
this.
good.
it's
So
like
apologies for
like
us.
Keep
literally like
grinding
Bahir
on it.
released a big
an IS
multimodal, which
works
is
for
also pretty
Genmo,
cool.
right? So he
We
works with two
mentioned
guys
that
from
Nomic,
Berkeley.
our friends at
And like when
Nomic,
I first met
we
him,
mentioned
and I
last
went
week,
to a
released
little
open
like
source
online
embeddings. If you
rave
guys
that he was
remember,
doing
they released
with
an
Ansel
update
and
to those
Database for the
embeddings,
first time going
Nomic
into
Embed
VR chat, the
1.5,
first time
with
ever.
Matryoshka embeddings.
Afterwards, shortly
Matryoshka
after that, he was
telling me
is
like, dude,
obviously
you've
the
made it.
name
You're
for the
you're
Russian
at the
doll that,
ivory
like,
tower.
sits
Welcome.
inside
And like
each
it
other.
was kind of
And we're
around
gonna
like
actually talk with the authors of the
October that
Matryoshka
started to
paper
sink in a little bit, and I'm like,
not the
oh,
next Thursday,
like
the next
I
after
might
that.
not
So
have
we're
credentials,
gonna
but
cover
like,
Matryoshka.
so I'm not
But
in the
it's
tower,
what
but I like get to
OpenAI
bop
apparently
around
used,
inside
not
like the
apparently,
maze-filled
confirmed,
gardens and
they used
pretend
to
I'm eating
reduce
cucumber
dimensions in
sandwiches
the
and
API
talk
frame.
to
That's
people like
super
Seth,
cool.
and like
We're gonna dive
I'm
deep
writing a
into this,
theory
as you
right
know.
now called
We're gonna learn. I'm gonna
bioprimacy,
learn. You're
which
gonna
is
learn.
very similar to evolutionary
And
psychology,
as we're
but
talking about
not the same
OpenAI,
thing, and they're really complementary.
I
Like
got a
simple
ping on my
example,
phone because I'm
like
subscribed to
humans
all
are really
updates on
just
their main account,
biocomputers, and
and
it seems like
we
those
had
of us who aren't
collective
involved
holy
in
shit
AI,
moment.
for instance, are just
Everybody's
running
jaw
off the
was on the
base
floor because OpenAI
bioprogramming,
just released
and they don't have a lot of
Sora, which
OS
is
to
a
override their
foundational
biological
video model,
drives,
text to
the
video
strongest
model
of which of
that
ours is
just
to mate.
blew us
So
the
humans are
F
just like
away,
machines to make
pardon
more
my French,
babies
because
that make more babies,
of the
right?
consistency.
And most
So
people
if
seem
you
to ignore
know,
this
if you've
fundamental law and
seen
get all confused.
the,
So bioprimacy is all
how
about just
should I
like
say,
being like,
the area
dudes,
of
this is what we
video
are.
generation
Be
has
fucking
been,
aware of
it's
your
been
mechanics, so
evolving
then you can
fairly
use
quickly, but not as quick as
self-awareness to
what we just
alter
saw.
your
We
rules
saw
because you know
first,
them.
we saw
Don't be
attempts
like,
at
oh
hidden
no,
stable
that's a
diffusion,
bad
rendered
thing, because
frame
like
by
he says that
frame, and the
women must make
consistency wasn't
babies. It's
there.
like, no,
It
once
was
you're aware, you can
moving
like
from one
free yourself from
to
making
another, like the
babies or
face
make
would
them
change and everything.
consciously
You
and
guys
such.
saw this, right?
So I
So
found an
we moved
evolutionary
from the
psychologist on fucking
hallucinatory kind of video
Twitter that I'm like,
towards
getting
consistency videos.
ChatGPT to
Stable
write me a little
Diffusion
thing
recently
to
released
like
and
be like,
gave us
"Do you like my
SCE,
theories?
which
Are
was
they
like
good?
1 to
Will you
2
sign on
to
up,
3
sign
seconds
off on them
videos.
because you have the credentials?"
Give me approval.
Runway ML gives
Delicious.
you the option to like
Well, it's in the same
choose
way that
where
like
the video is
Seth
gonna
is like,
go, if
man, you
it's
should
gonna
really
be a zoom
continue
in
your
like
work,
brushes,
right?
all
Because if
these things.
people are
And
at that
now
level,
all
like
of them seem
believe it
just
has
so
validity,
futile
then it
because
really gives you a little extra
OpenAI's
fire because you
Sora
know you're kind of
can generate
forging
up to
off on a new
60
path
seconds of
that's
a
worth
video.
taking down
And
the
honestly,
bushes.
we were sitting here just watching all of us just open the Sora
Yeah,
website,
well,
and it
you
was
know,
like
it's
mind-blowing way, but the consistency and the complexity
it is
of
an
the things you
interesting
can
time
generate for
considering
Sora
we're all
shows
kind
how
of starting
similar
from the
we were
bottom,
walking
so there
through
is some
the very busy
opportunity
streets
for
in Japan.
disruption
And
that
her
is
code
somewhat
stays the same,
unusual.
her
It's
face
kind of
stays the
nice.
same. There's another
Well, not
where
just
like
disruption, but
donations
also
are kind of one
contribution, right?
window
It's like
jumps to
healthy
another.
disruption.
All the
Because the
Oh,
spikes
guy I
are
got to know.
I mean
perfectly
disruption,
balanced
not
leg.
destruction.
It's really
Oh, you
unbelievable
misheard me. I
how
did say
high
disruption.
quality
Oh, gotcha.
OpenAI
Okay.
released.
Like the
And what's
guy I got to
unbelievable
know
to me also is
from
that
David Kelly's
the jump
AGI lab,
from what we
like
saw
they
in
claim they
video
cracked
to
AGI and we're
the
like
open
kind
source
of
stuff,
wasting
or
our
even the
time in a
runway stuff
sense.
and
Not,
Pika
but
stuff,
not really,
the
because like
jump
there's multiple
in
cognition ways
fidelity, in
possible. It's
quality,
good to
and
explore them.
consistency
But they're
is
kind of
so
like
much
joking,
higher
like,
than the
we
jump
got
from
it.
like
You just need
200,000
money, and we're
tokens
just
to
building it
1
slow.
million tokens.
Have fun
Yeah.
with your hype
So it does
LLM
feel
toys.
like
We're building
you know, some folks
multimodal
in
everything.
OpenAI sat there and said, "Hey,
And
Google
he
just
was
released
like, when I
something.
told him
It's
about
super
Day,
cool.
he
It's
was just
picking
like,
up
man,
attention on Twitter.
you know, I'm
Let's
really
release
sorry
something
that
else
somebody
we
treated
have
you that
behind the
way
scenes."
in
It
general,
looked
not even
super
Dave
polished. So
specifically,
shout out to folks
because
who
like
work on
obviously
Sora.
you have a
It's
lot of
really,
desire and
if you haven't
energy that
seen
needs to
the
be
videos,
channeled,
you'll see them in
and in
show
the
notes,
future you're gonna have
and
stuff to
definitely you'll
contribute
see
to the
them everywhere
field,
because
and like meeting people with
Hollywood
that kind of
is
energy
about
is
to get
so fucking amazing.
seriously disrupted with just the level of quality.
Nice.
Amazing.
That's good.
Compare this with all the vision and sound stuff. Moving back to the recap, I'm getting excited again. We also
All right, so what's
we
the
talked
yak joke?
about
Hell yeah,
Reka,
brother.
Reka
Keep
Flash
doing your shit, yak.
Hell
I'm
yeah,
off,
keep
off to
accelerating,
Dubai.
buddy.
As you
I'll
know,
catch you
I love
around.
bringing the people who actually built the thing to talk about the thing. So we had Yite and we had Max as well from Reka, Max Bade for Reka, to talk to us about their multimodals. I was very, very impressed with Reka's multimodal understanding. And I think this model compared to Gemini Pro, which is probably huge and runs on all the GPUs and TPUs, this model is 21 billion and Reka Edge is even smaller. And yet it was able to understand my videos to an extent that even surprised the guys who were the co-founders of the company. It understood tonality, understood text and audio in a very specific and interesting way. So we had a conversation with the Reka folks. And continuing on this thread, we also had a new model from Stability called Stable Cascade that is significantly faster than SDXL and generates hands and text out of the blue. It's based on something called WorstGen.
Oh, are they on a
we learned there's a hot
3-minute mutation
and
now?
we had the folks that work behind this, Dome and Rodrigo. No. Well, I'll remember the name. I'm blanking on the name of the other author that joined. I apologize. It was a very exciting day. So we had a conversation with the guys behind Worshan and Stable Cascade as well. So definitely check this out. We mentioned the Whisper Kit runs now on WatchOS, which is quite incredible because Siri's voice to text is still not that great. And I think that's mostly of what we discussed. And then I flipped the mic on my friend here that sits in front of me, and I just had a deep dive interview with Swix in the latent space. He just posted a few images as well, and it was a great conversation as well. So definitely worth a follow and a listen if you haven't listened to this. With that, I think we recap a thursdai on one of the more seminal days that I remember in the AI, one after another, and we all hope that Meta will just release Llama 3 and just kill us all like on the same thing. However, with that, I just want to wish you a great Thursday. Thank you for joining us from week to week. I want to thank the co-hosts that I had on stage. Thank you, Nistan. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, LDJ. Forel was here. Alignment was here. Thank you. A huge thank you for Swix, Alessio, and the Latent Space folks for hosting me here. Shout out to a bunch of friends in Silicon Valley who I'm going to meet. And with that, we'll see you next week. I'm going to go and try to somehow summarize this all in the newsletter and podcast for you. And we'll see you folks next week. I'm from San Francisco. This has been Alex Volkov. Cheers, everyone. Not this one. Bye-bye.
Okay. So we drop off of that. I think we're gonna... Oh, there's a Celestia space right now, too? Tough. Okay. Sure.
The downtown Tokyo thing, I think it's like they're kind of telling us anime's coming soon. But I wanted to ask, I see Micah is listening. I think Micah might have access based on his last post. Micah, if you're listening and you have access to Sora, please come up and tell us about it. Micah, last name Berkeley? Yeah, I don't see if Micah wants to come up. Try to invite him.
Yeah, I sent him invite. So Micah, would be great if you can join.
Here when someone's been working on a project for a while, and then some other company comes out with tech that just basically wipes out what they've been doing. You'll usually do the oh, don't be worried, it's advancement, whatever. And I understand what you're saying, but I also at times feel like you don't really have the full scope. Like you work in real estate. What if you woke up in the morning and found out that Google now generates houses and free property, and everything you do does
I'll
not ever
fight
need to
them.
be done again?
I'll fight them, bro.
See, and that's so
You have no idea the big boys that I used
fight
to
Google.
compete. No, I used to compete with in Australia. Like I don't give a damn. And these big companies are actually like on my door to help me to get the proper leads. Like honestly, like it's all I fight them, bro. I don't care. Google,
But I mean,
bring it
it
on.
would be a matter of thing where like it's already in place.
At
This
least
is how it is.
I'll be
Everybody in your
branded as
industry
like
no longer,
the man who
like
fought against the Google real estate. That's a brand value for me. And yeah.
yeah, but they would be writing about it in the building that they generated on their little Google thing and property.
And I will
I'm
be the
just
one
saying,
who
like, if
fighting.
all your work that you've done just suddenly went out the window because someone updated a new feature,
No,
you
I'll
would
fight
be
them.
struggling with it.
I will fight them.
But Andrew, one thing is
You're
for
not really
sure.
giving an answer.
That's what I said, bro.
I was just saying, like, hey man, take a minute and just think about the feeling. Like a lot of people in here have put a lot of work into stuff, and then suddenly something comes out. I have, other people have, and I'm not saying that we need to whine and cry about it. It is advancement, but I think it's also important to recognize that it can hurt and bother you, and that's important to recognize.
I understand where you're coming from, Andrew, and I felt that, like, because there are so many projects that I got that are actually overtaken by other companies, and it's really hurt. But I'm not gonna be crying about it. I was just like, okay, someone else used that opportunity and he got what he want. Now let me go and find another way. You know what I mean? But I just want to go to
Like,
Mika.
I mean, Brock's gonna be really hurt when Hot Dog GPT gets released.
Yeah, I told him to join with me.
That's a good example.
Yeah, I told him.
Yeah,
to
no,
join with me.
he wouldn't listen.
Yeah. Hey, Mika, go for it. Good to see you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good.
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
first and foremost, I do not have access, man. I'm definitely just stealing everything off I'm seeing on Twitter and remixing it. But the thing about this that I think is a huge opportunity, especially in the marketing world, it really changes a lot, right? There's been a lot of complexity just to getting video, the generative video scene right now, that space right now. Even though it's accessible, it's still not turnkey, right? You really got to go in and play with the angles and play with these tools, and you're still only coming out with like 4 to 6 bit quality, content. I mean, what's coming out of this right now is we're talking about 720 plus level quality content out of Sora, and that's amazingly huge, and it's a game changer for anybody. I honestly, the first thing I thought about when I saw this announcement was the music industry made the right choice of fighting and ensuring that they have continuity from and protection from this AI movement, because what Sora did today moved the ball ahead like 15 steps forward. So like a lot of these smaller, a lot of these smaller shops that are doing this right now, they really now have to. They either have to say, you know what, this 10-second limit, this 3-second limit, this 6-7 second limit, we're gonna have to either really step our game up, or we're gonna have to join forces and really figure this out. I mean, that Gen 48 competition just ended like a week ago, right? and, and literally everything that everyone created now is kind of almost nostalgic, which is insanity, right? Like think about this: you just spent a week, or technically 48 hours, putting together a motion picture, and Sam Ultimate is over here dropping mixtapes on people off of tweets that they're sending him, right? Which is bogus, right? It's bogus, but mad funny. But the crazy part about it is this is the state that we're in right now, right? We're in a hyper parabolic creative curve and innovation curve that's only gonna get, I think it's gonna accelerate. And I think the opportunity here is huge for people who are in the marketing communities, people who are in the advertising side, and anybody who's doing like e-commerce and such. Now it's almost as if we are we are slowly but surely earning Professor X powers, right? Where we can start, I've been in a wheelchair for all this time, but now my wheelchair can float. Now I can start reading people's minds, right? Now I understand like things that I never understood before. I can speak Swahili. I could break dance, and now it's really gonna be about who's really the most creative with this, and who's gonna be the first person to bring to market how to turn this into a profitable opportunity. And I'm trying to be at the forefront of that because I need to buy a Lamborghini, and I think these tools it's gonna get a lot of people there a lot faster. So I don't have access to it, but I think this is a super very pivotal moment in terms of where we are in terms of generative video in marketing and digital creativeness.
Mika, if I ask you that if you pay $20,000 right now on the table, you will get access, would you go for it?
Yes. I'll make that $20,000. I'll make that $20,000 back probably within a month. Just because.
Hang on. Where is your threshold? Where would you say no, not that much?
$20,001. I won't go over that.
I mean, the answer to that is the entire market cap of like the movie industry, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about this. There's people right now as we speak. I have teams that I work with who are spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 just for UGC content. And the UGC content that we're creating is pretty shitty, right? It's like you hope that somebody uses their cell phone in a portrait mode and we're shooting content in portrait mode on these cell phones, and it's just not great quality content, right? And the fact that I just saw a picture of a pirate ship and two pirate ships battling in a cup of coffee, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was a beautiful. I mean, I can only imagine what I'm going to be able to do when I have access to it, right? And it's gonna really push things forward, right? It's gonna really make a dent in the the video industry. It's gonna make a massive dent in the advertising industry, and it's like I said, it's just an amazing innovation, a level of innovation that we've all been waiting for. We all know we were gonna reach it. We just didn't expect to reach it this fast.
The prompt that I really hope Sam runs is if like generate a picture of Barack Obama or something. Like what I'm very interested in is if this model can generate specific people that are.
Absolutely.
I imagine they've guardrailed it to try and prevent it from doing that, but I mean, like that can be extremely problematic. Essentially, like there will be, just like the problem that arises for anybody who's like not putting that together is like very soon you will see a video of me and there will be no way for you to tell whether it's actually me doing that or it was generated by a model like this.
You can't stop the train. I keep saying this to people. Unfortunately, we could try to slow down that train, but you can't stop that train. Like the Quinn model for Alibaba, their new AI model that they released, is a copyright infringing savage beast because they don't obey any of the laws that we have in the United States. And some of the content that's coming out of it is absolutely amazing because they don't care about it. They don't care about the rules in a lot of ways. I use Quinn now more than I use Mistral, and I use it for everything from writing, scripts to all sorts of stuff, right? And you can't stop that train. So we can slow it down, we can put things in place like they did recently with, you can't make outbound calls using people's voices and yada, yada, yada. They could slow that down, but they can't stop the train. So eventually it's going to be a point where we are going to be in a really nasty situation where no one's going to know. But there's going to be other tools that are going to pop up and opportunities are going to pop up out of that. That's going to help us detect this type of stuff. And it's going to be a new industry based on that, right? There's going to be an entire new industry based on detection of AI content. And it's going to be $1 billion industry. And, you just have to get in where you fit in.
The funniest part is that a couple of hours ago, Google releases the million token thing, and everybody gets excited, and just 1 hour down the line, that news is nowhere to be seen. It's like completely disappeared from the scene. But the funniest part is that now, if you combine the two models, the video generation model Sora, and then you combine the video comprehension model
Yep.
with Gemini 1.5 Pro, you are going into a completely different direction, because now you can have an iterative system where you can generate the first prompt and then connect Sora with Gemini, say, understand this video, and then give me the next prompt. And then you pass that prompt to Sora to generate the next part of the video, so on and so forth. And you have the entire channel right at your disposal with one prompt that you give in the morning. You come back in the night, and it's still running. And it's all there.
I see we have
Anyway.
we have the post related to that point by Jim Fan. This is, so yes, you get an iterative loop of generate video, understand video, but the thing that you're actually doing is generate simulated world, understand simulated world. Like, if you attach like a mechanism like that to like an embodied anything, a car, like the light switches in your house, like, it can fully generate user has come home, and it can fully understand user has come home and turn on your lights for you. And like so yes, we have that, the Gemini model, but we also today Meta released VJEPA, which is the open source version of that interpretability model. So now everyone in the world has access to 1/2 of generate simulated reality and understand simulated reality that's automated for them. There's lots of things to do with that, and there are also a lot of problems that arise for that. And like, to Micah's point, like, so like your thought is like, yes, that somebody is like, it's going to create opportunities for people to solve, and then like I'm on the technical side where I'm like, how do I solve this problem? Like, it is, how do you, because if you're not familiar, detecting AI generated content is extremely difficult, because as soon as you have a decent detection engine, you can just adversarially train against it, and then you can beat it. So it's the red team automatically catches up to the blue team as soon as the red team can get access to something like that, and there's no way to like keep it completely under lock and key. So it's like, today is a pretty major like paradigm shift in a lot of like it's going to take a while for the long tails to come out, but like these things that happen today are like very, very significant.
But the funniest part is, yikes, that this threshold has been crossed probably a couple of months ago. Today is just the announcement.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they are already there. We are just being allowed in, I would clarify.
I'm so excited, and look at this stage of superstars. Hi, Andy. Thanks for having this space. This is really, really exciting. And Saturn, it's so great to see you. I was missing you, and Umesh and Micah. I came in as Andrew was speaking, and you know, I really, that's what made me want to come up to the speaker area, because this is really a massive opportunity. And yes, of course, every day I see stories about people losing their jobs. You know, people are really struggling with work, with finding jobs, losing jobs, whether it's because of AI or a number of other reasons. And so I see this as a massive opportunity for us to become, you know, independent from having to have jobs. If we, you know, don't want to, there's a wonderful opportunity here to learn AI. And I love what Michael was saying about the creativity. It will be the people that are the most creative with this technology that learn it and really utilize it. So while things like this are tough for some people. I just hope that we can all be empowered on some level to not have fear for it, but actually embrace it because there's a ton here. So I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm in a space of a bunch of smarty pants, and I love listening to you all. So thanks for having me on stage.
Thank you, Christopher, for coming and joining the space too. I appreciate that. I appreciate your support too. Um, yeah, I'm not the smartest. I'm just hosting. These guys are the smartest. I'm learning. Um, yo, wait, someone was saying something. I'm so sorry. I didn't see any hands up. Oh yeah, Dom hand was up. Where is he? Is he gone?
Seems like he dropped out.
He's been having some
Probably.
network problems.
Right, right. Oh, I posted that video about that Tokyo lady, like walking on my Instagram, and I add the night call, the music night call from the Kawasaki, like Kawasaki or Kawasaki, I don't know, I forgot the name. Whatever. I love synth music, anyways. I add that music for like 60 seconds. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's just freaking beautiful. I was keep on repeating that video with that music. It's just beautiful, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is even the curiosity and excitement what I have, because I never have that much excitement for any product so far. Because every time I see this first, when I first saw the Mid Journey, when I first saw this 2 3 years ago, all of these programs, I was just like, yeah, because I know this will happen. Because this is, if you look at my blogs like 3 4 years ago on my Facebook, I've been talking about it. It's like this will happen, but the video was something that I was so waited for longest time. I used to message all the people, Poetica and other people, like, hey, when do you reckon we're gonna have like a very good video models like that? But 60 second, that's actually pretty big deal, It's is it's beautiful, man.
And imagine, like, they are saying they will release 60 seconds. What stops them tomorrow? Just like GPT, where the context window was 8K and then, just kept on going up. What stops them from saying, now, we have achieved the capability and we can generate 2 minutes and 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and then say, oh, you can actually write the entire story and we'll make the video for you. Come back in 5 minutes and your video will be ready. So it's going to, I mean, is there, as I like what Micah said, it's coming. Just you will be able to apply some brakes here and there, but this is like a good strain. This is not a small car that you can just stop. This is good strain. It's going to keep moving. Um, yeah.
I agree. And imagine, Mika, sorry, go for it.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to also put into perspective here is that Meta has been going crazy on training models for sound, right? So they have all these new models that they published out. You can demo, you can play around with it. They make music. It makes Google has the same thing with sound and music. The one that the most recent one that Meta released, I forgot the name of it right now because there's so many of them. But you can do soundscapes, you can do clouds, you can do a thunderstorm, you can do things of this nature. So I mean, I'm already gonna assume that at this point, OpenAI is already in this space because the sound models that have been coming out for the last 3 to 5 months have been maturing pretty quickly. You know, I mean, we got hip hop songs and R&B music coming out of these some of these new models that are out. So the next phase of this is going to be that marriage between sounds and visuals, and that's when we're gonna enter to a whole new space and dynamic. Because it's moving there. It's just they haven't been married together yet, but that announcement, I think now at this point, is going to be less than 4 or 5 months away.
I'm still digging into the technical details of that. I'm still reading some stuff about that now.
About the sound, the meta such.
No, no, no. I'm talking about Sora.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
What goes in my mind right now? We have this AR VR technology, and on top of that, like this kind of stuff comes like, oh my gosh, man. it's uh, it's going to be pretty amazing. The entertainment history, like what you, EG, you're talking about 10 minutes video and everything, right? Imagine how much that's gonna change the entertainment history. Now we're gonna have like short films, right? That is created by OpenAI. So it's going to be a battle between the creative prompt engineers on YouTube's and other platforms, and they're going to be uploading like a 60s, you know, 10 minutes short film, science fiction, so whatever they want. You know what I mean? It's going to be, if 10 minutes, like a good short film, because I watch a lot of good short films, right? A good short films only need like 10 to 8 minutes to 15 minutes. Imagine if OpenAI can give you, you can create a generate like video like for like 10 minutes. Oh my god, you could do magics with that. This is
Yeah,
freaking nuts.
indeed. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, like, just if you extrapolate this model, let's say if you are able to keep the consistency, right? Then you can actually create multiple 10-15 minute videos and create the entire channel. So something that, Krista speaks about, this AI influencer kind of a thing. If you translate that into this, we, you can actually create um, an influencer with a consistency, and that becomes your character basically. And you can have those multiple characters, and you can just keep on generating everything. So this is, and we are just only talking about the entertainment. I mean, imagine the knowledge industry, imagine the training industry. I mean, all those things. I mean, everything can change with this, because if you are able to keep consistency in the video, you can even include the presentations. So then if you have a good quality text embedding model, then you're able to generate text. So that means that now you can create the tutorial videos with the text and everything consistent all throughout, and you can have a professor, which is nothing but just an avatar, which is looking really really consistent all throughout the videos, and you can have classrooms. I mean, the implications as you move forward, yeah, I mean, we are moving in that direction, and very 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 fast.
So yeah, I guess so. Like Sora's the big announcement, but I just want to out for because I assume some people have missed some things. Because there was about five this morning that kind of dropped. I already mentioned VJEPA from Meta, so we have a model for world understanding, and we obviously have Sora. Um, in addition to that, we have Gemini 1.5 Pro, which I believe somebody already mentioned. And then, if you're not familiar with magic.dev, they have a um, they have a model that has a 10 million token context length that is supposedly state of the art for code generation and debugging. I don't know if they are just announcing that they've finished training it or what's going on with it. I just heard about that. Um, there's also from Reka AI, there is Reka Flash, which is a 21B model that is competitive with Gemini Pro and GPT-3.5 that is open source. Um, although I believe I think they have a better Reka, but they're keeping it closed. And then I feel like there was one more, but they're hard to. Oh yeah, Lindy just got a full release, which is kind of a like a no-code agent builder thing. So just to, I guess, like update everybody that like yes, also 20 other things happened today, as is not uncommon in the field, but today's a relatively unusual day.
Yeah, normally this space would have been about Google releasing this 1 million token context window. So practically you can put the entire Bible into the chat and then chat with the Bible. But apparently it seems like that news is very, very old after a couple of hours. And it like literally feels like that was like last year.
So can I real quick? Did you guys see the? I posted a video of the new 1.5 Pro model, and it's what they did is they uploaded a video of some old movie, and using Gemini they painted a they hand drew a portion of the movie, like where water is spilling on top of a guy, and they uploaded this portion, this little, this little picture to the Gemini 1.5 model, and it found the inside of the video, that exact scene. I'm gonna share this with you guys because I think it's pretty impressive to watch. So I think the Gemini 1.5 model, it is actually way more powerful than I think is than just this 1 million, token context window. I think for it to the ability for it to ingest frame by frame, memorize what's happening in all those frames. Um, they said this token, I guess this the token window for this video was like 700,000 tokens, right? And it knew exactly where to pull. There was a point in the video where the woman speaks about how she types in a prompt, find the point in the video where the man takes a piece of paper out of his pocket with the phone number on it. And after 1 minute, it finds the exact point in the video where this happens, and it gives context from what was also on that paper, right? And I posted about that this morning, explaining that, how this is not only going to be used just for, um, you know, the 1 million context window, but in the legal field, when it comes to like I wrote, this is a master play making evidence analysis more efficient. Lawyers can leverage this model to pinpoint key moments in hours of security footage, or find particular phrases in a pile of documents instantly. In education, I said, details from online video lectures can be extracted, summarized, and make instant video study guides. Like there's so much that can be done with that new Gemini 1.5 Pro model, with that, million token context window. And I think we're not even realizing it yet, right? I'm just thinking of ways I can get money off of it because I just like making money. But there's a lot of opportunity there on an educational level, on a science level. There's so much that's happening with that new Gemini model. I hope that it gets released soon. I try to get access to it today. They're giving access to, like, small window of people. Um, I'm an ex Googler, so I try to flex that when I put my request in. But I think that's a huge opportunity there also. And just like you guys said, the marriage between this and now the new Sora model is going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Mika, and specifically when you said about that, finding that exact point and everything, there is another thing that I have noted down in terms of what other things can happen. And one of the thing is that you can actually segment the lips of people in a video. So you can have recording of a video where there is no audio, let's say a CCTV recording where you don't have the audio of
That's
people,
wild.
and then you can focus on the lips, and then you can train a model to actually generate the text that people are speaking.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, so everything like this changes a lots and lots of things actually.
yeah. This is a big Thursday for no reason.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, this is big. This is big. I think now it is turning out to be that every Thursday we are going to have these releases so that they kind of fill up the weekend, you know, get people excited about the weekend kind of.
Yeah, there was a conference that I wanted to watch today, but I don't have time anymore because I have to to fill out all this stuff, and it was the large models in operations conference. So it would have been quite valuable, but unfortunately, that is not the case anymore. I need to, but thankfully, I can just take those videos, dump them into Gemini, and ingest them into a knowledge base, so it should be just fine anyway. Such as it is.
Yeah. Suddenly, any kind of posting about improving your text prompts for generating content with ChatGPT or Gemini looks so lame and so like last century now with this particular thing. It's like I don't want to interact with ChatGPT or Gemini anymore. I just want to have that access to that model to generate more videos and slap something from Facebook to put some dialogues and then generate some really great music and then put the music in the background and then generate a 10-minute kind of a video. And yeah, that's where we are right now. And by Monday we'll forget about Sora because we'll have Llama 3.
I really hope people do. I really hope that maybe this will finally be the breakthrough that gets people away from chatbots, because if there's a reasoning engine that can understand all of the actions I'm taking in 3D space, why do I need to prompt it? Like, that's silly. Um, so what I'm hoping that people start getting around to the proactive assistant rather than the I need to initiate an action assistant modality sooner than later, I hope. Or I've been waiting for it for God knows how long, so hopefully someone other than me will start working on it.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go to Loritz. Hey, Loritz. Welcome back, man. How is it
Hello.
going?
It's going great so far. I just want to hear you guys' opinion on, do we think there is like a clear winner, or are Google taking the lead, or how do we think OpenAI will still lead so far, or do you guys think like there is some company or corporation that are slowly getting ahead of others?
I mean, with Sora, basically, if you apply the battlefront kind of analogy, OpenAI just opened up a whole new battlefront. This is completely different. I mean, this is just saying, oh, let Google do its stuff. We don't care about Google anymore. We are going after Runway ML and everyone else, kind of, you know. So it's a whole new battlefront that they have opened up right now. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Let's see. Wow. Did I say anything wrong?
No, I don't. No,
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 you
not
think
Well,
that.
no, I just, yeah, there's not a, like, the answer to that question is like the
Perfect.
leader in what, you know? Like, like, sure, OpenAI has released like this incredible video generation model, but then like the 12 other models that dropped today that do other things that were also impossible prior to today. Those are all also things
Yeah, I
that
mean,
happened.
you have to apply the Apple pipeline here. Understand one thing, that what we saw today, the model is entering into what is known as the controlled release now. So that means that the model must have been ready for almost 3 months, because they do a lot of testing inside before even the word comes out. So the model has been ready for 3 months, and they've been testing inside, and then they said, okay, we are ready for it. And now you have this controlled kind of release where you have expectations and you have early access, and then you will have red teaming and everything that will take place, and then it will be released to general public in a staggered way. So the whole pipeline basically takes anywhere between 6 to 9 months since the model is ready, actually. So that means, imagine what model they may have ready already right now, which they are already testing, and what model they may be in the training right now, which will enter into testing. So we are into that iterative process where what we are seeing is just what comes up on the surface. What is happening inside, we just have to speculate from that point of view. It seems Andy is not well,
No, no,
so we
I'm
will not
I'm
bother.
Oh,
I'm
Ah,
geez.
okay.
I just realized I've had my mic open while I'm typing. I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, I'm going through more and more of these videos. I'm just sitting here mind blown. I saw that I think a gentleman by the name of Ben Nash. He put up a video of he tried to recreate some of the videos coming out of Sora and all these other tools like Runway, yada yada yada, and it just really doesn't compare. One of y'all was mentioning this earlier when I first jumped on. Imagine you being part of one of these teams and you just watch like your work get eviscerated in like less than like 20 minutes, probably blindsided too. They probably knew something was coming, but and I've been in that situation where we've been working on a project, and then some asshole out of nowhere comes with something that's even better, and you're like, ah man. But for those teams, like I said, it's gonna be about a major pivot. I know they're sitting there having a stand up right now. They're probably all in the Slack channel, like, okay, how do we, how do we respond to it, or how do we move forward with this, and because it also makes a huge difference when you have people investing into your company, right? Like I'm in a state now where I've been working with a lot of VCs and trying to get funding for some of these projects I'm working on, and that is a game changer. Like imagine you just receiving $11 million in seed money, and then you now really have to show and prove to the companies that invested into you, like, yo, we're gonna pivot, we're gonna make this better, and we're gonna make sure you didn't lose that $11 million or whatever your investment might have been. It's gonna definitely shake things up, but I think everything's gonna happen for the better. And at the end of the day, it's us consumers who are really going to be able to bank and secure a nice little bag with it. If you're innovative, if you're fearless, if you're willing to think outside of the box and not be worried and bogged down by like regulation and what can I do, what can I do, because I was able to carve a niche in several different markets for myself just because I didn't really care about the rules. I'll let the rules catch up to me and let me know, hey, bro, you're not supposed to do that. I was like, oh, okay. I was I one of my first tools that I created, and it sounds absolutely preposterous, was I cloned Joel Osteen's voice, and if you know me, I've been cloning his voice for a long time. He's a very popular reverend in the United States. If you're not from the states, and I made a voice AI tool that will pray for you. You call it up, you tell it about your problems, and it will pray for you. And I asked my dad, who was a minister, what do you think about this? He was like, this is blasphemy. And I was like, but people actually like it. And then I was like, this is a weird convergence we're at. Like, does this even, like, what is this? What does this even mean? For me, I was like, okay, I can like, I was gonna set up a service where it'll call you up once a day and it'll pray for you, and and I charge it like they charge holy water back in the day, right? And is it? I'm sure I'm probably on the fringe of like not making it up there or whatever, but it's when you think outside the box that allowed me to actually get to the point where I am now, where I have a vested interest in some of these big voice AI companies, and I have like equity because I've been focused so much on it, well, voice AI, and figuring out where I can take it, and it opened up a lot of opportunities for me. So I think that if you're fearless about this industry and you're fearless about moving into this into some of these different spaces with this new tech, there's an opportunity for everyone here, right? It's just a matter of like, I'm never going to be bogged down with politics or whether this is the right thing or wrong thing to do. I'm going to wait for somebody to tell me, and I'm going to pray and hope that I do nothing illegal along the way. And it usually gets you to where you need to go. A lot of people imagine if OpenAI said, "Hey guys, we might want to make this because it might be used for fraud and it might be used to impersonate people." That'll be crazy. So it's really an opposite. It's really about you positioning yourself, like come up with some dope ass ideas. Think outside of the box and figure like how can we use this technology as a means to an end. And I think like again, this is absolutely amazing. I'm scrolling on Twitter right now, and I'm just looking at all the new stuff that's coming out, and like it's really epic where we're at right now.
Yeah, and indeed, and Sama just received the fourth check of $1 trillion. So he
Yeah,
now
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
four. He now has four checks. He
Absolutely,
just needs three more checks. And
absolutely. I was just thinking
yeah,
that earlier. He definitely got one of those checks filled, man.
yeah. Now, like there are just three people saying, "Oh, you know what? Just show us another video of like 5 minute generation." And he says, "Okay, hang on a minute. I'm sending it to you. Just check your DM." And he sends 5 minute video and he gets one more check. So
Right.
we are getting there. But the funniest thing is like this announcement, if you look at their website, there is something very unique I found. So they basically revamped their website, as you know, like a couple of months ago. The whole design and everything now has that Apple-esque feeling. And today's announcement is very unique. So they have put the date very different. They have put published February 15th, and then they have put 2024 in Roman. Remember, all these things are very carefully crafted.
This is true.
So, yeah, so it is in Roman. It's MMXXIV. So, very interesting. Anywho, let's go to Loritz and then go to Cordell. Loritz, go ahead.
When I look at the website and I look at the different videos that they give an example of, and with the prompt written down below, I'm just instantly thinking about like the whole movie industry, also with all the voice AI. Like how so much content and will be probably soon generated using a lot of AI technology. And I find that really interesting. I don't know if it. Mm, I'm not scared at, about it because I think acting is acting, but like there's so many industries around movies and adult content, and there's so big potential like market wise, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. Like, would you like ever go to the cinema to watch a fully AI generated movie that is fully entertaining at the same level, but uh, just the fact that you know that it's AI generated?
Probably not a
Really?
cinema because it would probably be like I could probably just ask for it and it would be delivered on whatever screen I want.
True, true.
Yeah, but why not? Why not cinema? We have all been to Star Trek and sorry, Star Trek movies and Star Wars movies, and none of those movies are real. We know that. So why not? Why not AI generated movies? You know, if they are consistent and if they have a good story, end of the day, the story will win. So if you have a powerful model and if you're generating shit, it doesn't matter how hi-fi looking that stuff is, but if there is no story, there is no captivating the imagination of people, it's not going to survive. So yeah, it all depends on, it's not what you generate, it's how you generate. So what are you using as inspiration? Do you have storytelling capabilities? And those capabilities will come out hopefully. So I'm pretty hopeful that we will see AI movie before the end of the year, and we will see probably with some really really strong story, and maybe coming from a director who we don't even know today, because that director could never get the hands or get a foot in the door in Hollywood because of the restrictions, and he has fantastic storytelling capabilities and a wonderful script that we have never heard of, but now he has a tool where he doesn't need anyone and he can generate, and she can generate, or whosoever the person is, that person can generate and release the movie. So we'll go there. Let's go to Cordell. Cordell, go ahead, my friend.
Hello, hello everyone. What's going on? Hi Andy, hi Umesh. What's up, Saturn? This is so dope and this is so beautiful, you guys. I had some thoughts on Sora as a professional dancer, choreographer, just complete creative too. In this area, this arena, this kind of really changes the game for artists, and I find like I'm looking at these images and these videos, these long videos. I'm thinking, oh my god, for like the entertainment realm, for artists who do not feel like they have the, especially like the budgets for to be able to create these movies and like utilize things like ControlNet to even create themselves and utilize like whole full movies like using Sora. I think that this is just going to be mind blowing to be able to create like for the dancing for wellness for wellness for overall like health, like for the health industries. It just seems like, at least for me right now, it just seems powerful. And I think Michael was talking earlier about even like people using UGC creators and stuff like that. And I wonder, like, a lot of people utilize a lot of dancers and artists for a lot of the promotion of their products. And I'm thinking like, how can even now I'm just like, how can I help train or utilize this for other, you know, for the dancers? People are losing, like, you know, people are losing their jobs or not able to uh, create things like this without the budget. So I wonder ideas or thoughts about how we can utilize this for up and coming artists that may not be so AI savvy, right? But they're like, I would love to learn how to utilize these new tools and how to utilize things like Sora to create and not have a copyright infringement on their music by creating their own music and things. I think this is going to be dope in advertising and then just creating an avenue for more people to create uh, income for themselves without needing humongous companies, minus like, you know, OpenAI. So I don't know. It seems really dope, and I'm really excited for these use cases. Uh, yeah, thanks for letting me have this stage too. This is just really dope.
Yeah, you brought, and especially being an artist yourself, you bring that side of the story as well, and it's very very interesting. But the thing is, like the way I see it is, I don't see this as an kind of a what do you call a generative engine. I would rather say that this is more of a compression of a generation pipeline that we had. So people were already using different types of tools to analyze various things and create various things, and all the CGI pipeline that we had, and special effects and VFX pipelines that we had already had very advanced tools in place, and we have seen that in movies and other places. And what is happening is that you required very specialized training, years of kind of experience to reach that level, and that particular pipeline is getting really compressed. And basically, you are getting an interface that is doing everything that usually a person would have to learn, first of all, for a few years, and then basically spend hours, if not days, to even go through, let's say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of visual effects. And now you can generate those effects using a prompt, basically, and you need to have a proper prompt because the machine is able to understand those instructions and basically compress the instructions, basically. So I think it's, again, still, we are still at very much kind of a tool level, and human creativity will get reflected in these tools. That's my take, but who knows the future, right? So let's go to Lason. Lason, hey, man, how is it going?
Hey, it's good. Trying to maybe multitask and work and do some spaces about this story because I do think it's super awesome.
Lason, today is not the day for multitasking, friend. Today is the day to focus on Sora, man.
Indeed. And I I wanted to highlight the last sentence in the article here and just kind of make people aware that I think that there's kind of two ways to view Sora here. I think we can view it as a creativity engine for creating videos and content creation, just generally like what it is on the surface. But I think the last sentence on this article really highlights kind of like a larger trajectory or use case for this. It says here, Sora serves as a foundation for models that can understand and simulate the real world, a capability we believe will be an important milestone for achieving AGI. And it draws back to, for me, recently Sam Altman was asked about how they left robotics and if they would consider getting back into robotics. And we've seen several different research from Google and otherwise where they're seeming to use. We've seen it with self-driving where they're using simulated self-driving videos to like learn how to self-drive. And so one of the Sora videos, it has just with the one with the people walking through the city, kind of the amount of like kind of coherency to like the 3D structure and the building staying in the same place, and like it really seems like Sora has like a good understanding of like 3D space and object permanence and otherwise, where I think as it says here, um, it is going to be foundational to really, and I think Yikes was talking about this too, in the sense of like it can understand like what you're actually physically doing, what's actually physically in your environment, and leverage that to make intelligent decisions and inferences. And so I'm just really excited about that possibility. OpenAI getting back into robotics. I think they invested in this 1X company, which is a humanoid robot company. And certainly people are trying to build robot stuff on their API. And so it seems like this like Sora is maybe like going to allow for that to kind of go the next step and maybe at scale simulate um, robotic and other kinds of physical systems. So yeah, just really excited both about the creativity and just about that the kind of physical use cases.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed one particular thing, which is very important, is understanding the objects or let's say contents of the video and keeping them consistent. And amongst all the videos that I've seen, and now like I've seen probably 50 videos already, um, the video that really struck with me is the first video which I saw, and for one simple reason. That's the video where this woman is walking in Tokyo street, And somewhere around 47 second, basically, the camera zooms in to her glasses, basically, and there is a reflection in the glasses. And to have that understanding of the object which is there, which is your street and the stripes, the zebra crossing on the street, having that object in the memory while the object is not shown in the video. So there is no video imprint of that object, but it is there in the memory of that video. And then showing the reflection of that in the glass, basically.